Yep, so if you're reading the overlay correctly, that was a $100 donation from Patao. That's incredibly generous, and that really boosts the prize pool by a third. Amazing stuff. Thanks again. Anyway, focusing in on the admin restarted version of Dry Arabia for the Brothers in Arms Grand Final. This is a co-op tournament. Not much of it has been streamed, so perhaps you are unfamiliar with it. But it's 1v1 in terms of how many TCs and civs are on the map, but there are two players controlling each civ in co-op. We have the Russian team, Vinchester leading that one, probably like 2,100 player, and Dench, somebody said he's 2,000 1v1, I haven't got a clue who he is, whether that's an accurate or legit rating. And on the other side we have the Irish duo of Melkor and Feanor, and I think I favour them for the matchup. I just think that, first of all, Melkor and Vinchester. Vinchester's probably the best player in the game on Arabia's type settings generally, I would say. But Feanor is pretty damn solid, and I don't know too much about Dench, so I want to give the advantage to the Irish team for that reason. And the other reason is that Melkor and Feanor are brothers, and I just feel like their communication and cooperation, especially as they play together in normal settings all the time, obviously not in co-op, but I just think they're going to be on another level. They might even be sitting in the same room or in the same, or like in the room next to each other. I don't know if they live in the same house or anything, but I have to give the advantage to them because communication and syncing up is going to be so important here, because with co-op, obviously you have the potential to play at a level higher than just one player alone, but you also have the potential to play at a much worse level if you're constantly getting in each other's way, overwriting each other's commands and not dividing labour correctly. So I'm going to be interested to see the approaches. I'm going to be interested to see how it all pans out, and if I can see evidence of players like taking advantage of the setting of it being a co-op. So I see stuff taking place that is obviously able to take place because the players have less multitasking to do because they can focus on different areas. An example, I mean, it's not like you wouldn't see it in 1v1 normally, but an example is ball stealing, because one player just, doing the standard Dark Age stuff that players have done a million times, it leaves one player to just focus on the ball steal and nothing else. So it means that any ball steals that take place should be, first of all, always successful. Secondly, they shouldn't delay the economy due to the multitasking required, and also you'd expect it to be taking place a lot because of the things that I've just mentioned, the fact that makes it much easier. Also, pushing deer, another thing that like one player can just sit there and do that. So they've stolen the ball in this situation, the Irish team, but it's just so easy especially with these deer not being terribly hard to push, to make sure you don't get delayed too much by just pushing the deer. Of course, it's a massive advantage to still steal the ball. It's still like a 600 food turnaround after some rotting, like plus 300 and minus 300 for the two teams. But it doesn't necessarily slow you down in terms of like struggling for food for feudal up, because you can still go up at the same time just by pushing deer, but it's just less free food in the long run. Less free fast food. Look at the maps, as somebody in the chat, Nobody41, was pointing out. This gold, pretty damn hideous. Hard to saturate it. It's at the bottom of a hill. Might be able to protect it quite well if they set up some defence on the hill. But good wood lines. Great backstone for mines to get castle later on. Won't be too hard to close up along the top side. A little bit more open on the east with a big hill overlooking the second stone. I think it's an okay map for the Russian team. This would be a good TC spot later somewhere around here, getting wood and gold. But certainly a lot could be better about it. The Irish team, this map This back area is nice. Back wood, stone and gold are all in a good spot, but it's pretty open across the front. The extra wood is quite far away, and there is a forward gold on a hill in front of the base, but this is defensible. I think it's a decent map for both players, or both teams even. Neither map is great, but neither map is terrible. Josh is coming together now. Players could be, well, the teams could assign one player to kind of micro their heart out with the drush, whilst the other guy is looking after the economy. The eagle for the red team, the Irish team, is heavily damaged after the boar steal, whereas Vinchester's team has full HP eagle, so that would be really important if the drushes actually clash. But for now, keeping their distance from each other and actually pushing deer still. But surely those militia from the purple team are going to hit the berries soon. Try and snag a villager there. Running quite close to the TC, but staying just out of range. Good hits on the eagle. The eagle's almost down. Red team will probably want to keep this out of harm's way, actually healing it up in the TC, and they're on the way to the feudal age. 28 villagers. Vinchester's team's still chilling for a little bit longer, but going up with 2 villagers higher and about 50 seconds difference, so pretty much no difference in idle between the two of them. I'm not sure how much total TC idle time it is, but in relative terms, neither one has fallen behind or wasted much, and has taken advantage of the amount that you can do as a co-op team if you're in sync with each other. Noticeably, the Irish team isn't walling at all at the moment, whereas this kind of compressed area for the Russian team was, they couldn't resist walling it up, but they have walled their gold out, and there is a hole just for now, allowing them to maybe send more villagers to the gold. Really intense Josh micro. There's been almost no HP lost on these militias, and as I say that, the purple team loses a bunch. And I think Melkor and Feanor will be pretty safe from that drush now. That other one is on really low HP and it could be 3v1 pretty soon. So better drush micro by Melkor and Feanor, even though they couldn't really get their Eagle Scout involved in it. And they will leapfrog to the Castle Age pretty damn quickly. Going to be a 1624 Castle Age time. Meanwhile, it seems that the purple team, the Russian team, will take a more aggressive approach. 2 archery ranges being laid down straight away. Although they actually, no, they can click to Castle Age as well, so I expected them to be a bit delayed, especially after the boar steal. I wonder if they swapped boars. Like, I don't know if there's another steal that I missed. I don't think that's true, that's correct. But yeah, they're going to go... Oh no, sorry, it's not 2 archery ranges, it's a blacksmith and an archery range. I just looked at the 2 foundations and I thought it was 2 archery ranges. Anyway, I'm tired. I've been streaming for like 4 hours already. So you can... You'll have to cut me some slack during the stream. Probably won't be the first stupid mistake I make. But anyway, they're heavily on stone, so they'll look for a castle straight away with the plumed archers. Meanwhile, Melkor and Feanor are adding in some archer units from 2 archery ranges. So somebody's doing 2 archery ranges. I don't see them on stone at this point. Main stone out here and second stone there. So they'll look to apply some pressure. I presume they are aware about the exposed gold, yeah, but they also see the tower, of course, and they see that some walling has taken place. They'll probably discover now that this east side is walled up and actually double palisaded. They're hitting the Castle Age with King Russia being... It was around 50 seconds behind, wasn't it? Second TC protecting the eastern wood line and the gold in the back. Decent spot for that. But neither team able to do any damage to each other during this Castle Age transition. They are now going to put up their castle, and it's a interesting spot. I mean, I guess ultimately you're going to go for multiple castles, but it feels a bit defensive. I mean, they know the enemy army is here, because they're being attacked by it. They've got a tower here. Maybe they could have put it a little bit further forward. I mean, a castle here would have been perfect. Or not forward, but to the side. No, just even there. Villager being picked off on the wood line, but there's no way in for Melkor and Feanor's arch crossbowmen. So plumed archer production has begun by the looks of that garrison flag. They actually give me a villager in there. Hopefully they notice that soon and don't leave that idle in there for a long time. Probably be ejected when they eject the plumed archers. Yeah, she's coming out. She's that farmer there. Anyway. Back at home, the Irish team doing some walls across the side. Trying to protect the northern area, which I said at the start was the most open area. If they manage to get a wall around here, that'd be pretty good. I'm going to be getting them, securing them a wood line to the north in the second stone. They're not yet taking the main stone either. I expect a TC like here, later or here. Take that main stone. Especially as that wood line gets chopped, it will start to come under pressure from plumes being parked behind here. Another option is perhaps a wall across here, but it's a bit of a massive undertaking when you probably want to TC your wood and stone anyway. Though you could do the same here. So it seems the purple team will go pretty damn aggressive with early ballistics and early padded archer armor. Not being able to get a TC, just second TC just yet. So they really are going to go on the aggression, and I think I like this because if you, especially with the enemy being on crossbows, if you get upgraded plumes with, especially with ballistics and some armor, they're just so devastatingly fearsome against crossbows. Like, and with Vinchester's micro as well. Like, Vinchester's a player whose macro game isn't quite there sometimes compared to his micro, I feel. Like, sometimes he over micros to the cost of his villagers and stuff and his economy. There's a game against Doubt and Clash of the Hippo where it's so much damage to Doubt in the early game, and then you looked back at home and he was like one villager ahead and half his eco is idle, and it's just like, well, all that micro and damage you did was great, but unless you're going to consolidate it back at home, it's not. I mean, it's worth it, but you're not taking the advantage of it that you need to take when you're doing damage. But if Dench can do the eco and leave Vinchester to micro, not like this, although you can definitely tell he's noticed that. That could be a really devastating just pattern of play for the Russian team to employ throughout the series. And yeah, TC coming up there is good to try and help keep those plumes out, but they can still run around here and into the back, hit that gold mine from the north. If the plumes get on that hill, that's going to be a big problem for the Irish team. Just looking at the chat going mad about the micro. That's pretty awesome. Somebody said microing against ballistics. I didn't see. Did Melkor and Feanor get ballistics? I want to check that because that's pretty important. I mean, I guess if he made a ballistics miss, then it's the lack of thumb ring causing it. But pretty awesome. Do split micro so well to make ballistics miss. For now, though, I think the Irish team doing a decent job of making sure those plumes don't get in their base. They're keeping the numbers up for now with the crossbows, although as I say that, way more reinforcements of plumes coming from the eastern side. This group of plumes with +1 armour gonna destroy those crossbows, especially if they get on the hill from behind. And I think Melkor and Feanor may be overextending a little bit with the crossbows now. I'm not sure. The hill can help, but ultimately they're going to an area where they can't escape from too much now. The plumes have come in from behind. Good micro initially, it was like 2 for 2 in the first moments of the fight, but now we see the plumes just destroying them, and that's a big win for the Russian team in the fight. 26 to 15 kill to death ratio. Still only 15 military to 19, but I guess the Irish team's still on crossbowmen for now, and we've just seen what like 15 plumes will do to 15 crossbowmen, especially with the players doing nothing but microing and ballistics being in play and such. Plus that they have +2 armour. I don't think the crossbows have got anything yet, have they? No, still no armour. Padded archer armour just now being researched, but it barely matters. Siege workshop as well. 77 to 57 villagers, so big eco advantage for the Irish team now. Let's just have a look at the resources. Neither team has much in the way of resources, apart from the Irish floating a big bank of gold and starting to amass some stone, so they'll make a plume transition at some point. These plumes going to pick up a good number of kills here. Actually just the one, but it's all idle. I guess castle locations, first and foremost, this is the one. That's the one you want to secure your third goal, but this one's really important as well. Between those two, you can kind of zone out the entire front of your base, defend a lot from the top of the hill, secure important resources. But it will be a long time until the Irish team has 2 castles. And in fact, the Russian team will probably build their second castle before they even get their first. The Irish team even gets their first one. They have a wall off the edge of the map, including an extra map gold, which is pretty nice. The 2 extra golds are out front, so the fact that they're losing control of front of the map to all these plumes is a bit of an issue. This is a bit sloppy though. Between the two of them, the fact that they didn't get Bosaw when they've... And I don't know, it feels like a kind of potentially late gold mining as well, although they were mainly focusing on aggression, so I can understand not affording the eco to get gold mining. And to be honest, plume from one castle doesn't cost that much once you've afforded ballistics anyway. But yeah, that second castle for Vinchester's team goes up. A lot of food buying and wood selling in the market here from Melkor and Feanor. Are they trying to go up? Yes, they are. So they're going to not hit imp, but they're going to click imp at around 31-30 probably, with 1 castle in the bank and stone starting to float to get a second castle. The problem is they won't be able to get the second castle in the perfect position because this one, between the plumes and the mangonel and the castle being there, the Russian team has kind of taken control of the front of their base. So, second castle location will have to be a little bit more defensive. Meanwhile, just trying to get as many plumes as they can with their remaining crossbows, because they'll look to go into elite plumes and probably not get arbalists, so it's just a case of making best use you can of these crossbows, and this is pretty much it. They've got a good number of kills, taking the hill and getting some more. Was that a runner to micro against it? Wheelbarrow now, somebody says, Craig says. Yeah, there's some sort of late eco upgrades in this, a little bit odd. Why does the Irish team have a German flag? I think they have some sort of connection to Germany, I don't know, but they just, well, Melkor, with this Matthias account, put a German flag on it. I don't know why. They have Irish flag accounts, they have USA flag accounts. Many players have accounts with flags that aren't their actual country. So, second castle going up there in the back, protecting all the farmland and the main goal for Melkor and Feanor should they start to push in and run in with the plumes. Oh, another castle on this left hand side, although some of those villas could go down. That palisade will not last at all. I'd love to see like a stone wall like here and here maybe, plugging some of these gaps just in case the plumes run in, because the Irish team is not ready for purple team to run in just yet. They have an eco advantage, an Imperial Age timing advantage, but they don't have a military presence in the form of plumed archers that can actually resist this. Good mangonel shot though, that's really helpful. Not going 1 for 1 on the mangonels though allows Russia to continue applying the pressure. 1 plume picking up kills and driving villagers away from this extra gold mine on the front. I guess the Irish team, for that was quite important for them, and quite a big thing that the Russian team found that, because the other 2 golds, they can't take them at all at the moment. And this one in the back is starting to go low. There's about 1,500 to 2,000 in there. Yeah, 2 castles each. The third one, they're still trying to build it. And the purple team is 3/4 of the way to the imp. Already adding plenty of rams, that's pretty good. Now have rams and eventually cap rams, and probably not too long to siege rams because they have a lot of food, although they want to spend it on other upgrades for plumes and such. They're looking in good shape, the Russian team, despite the bigger eco of the Irish team. They're the ones who seem to be just struggling to get buildings on the field, to get enough plumed archers on the field, to get enough siege out. And this is really ambitious to actually mine this. Some of these villas are going to go down. So let's check the siege workshops of the Irish team. 1 ram, many more being queued. But still coming from a deficit there with the ram production. But should, in theory, be able to afford more upgrades. That said, okay, they are actually on elite plumes, and so are purple. So are the purple team. But the purple team has the numbers. Bowsaw for Melkor and Feanor. Oh my god. I guess, like, I don't know how they're dividing the labour, but I mean, if there's one person not solely responsible for it, and they're kind of both doing a bit of eco, then they can both forget it, because they're not going through the routines that players normally do, like, oh, I hit Castle A to get Bowsaw, because they're, you know, they're maybe doing something else, and it's not like a strict you eco and I micro and make military kind of thing. But Bowsaw at this stage of the game is a big deal. Looks like the Irish team, though, they're starting to stabilise things. They've got a good plumed archer army on the hill here. They're getting siege ram first, which is really important. It's huge in a Mayan war. And starting to take control of the hill in front of the base. Preparing now to mount an assault on that forward castle. There's a lot of rams here for the Russian team, but there's no sign of siege ram being researched. And I don't know how many plumes they've got in the area, because I don't know how many are in the castle. The answer is not many, because this was done, I think. And so, yeah, 50 military to 20. Suddenly the Irish team really mounting a turnaround in the last couple of minutes. They are about to be down 2 castles to Melkor and Feanor once these siege rams take care of that one in the front. Siege workshops will go down as well, and is that even a 5th castle coming up? I think we're now starting to see the effect of that better eco as 2-man sword comes in and make up for the bow sword timing. We're now starting to see the better eco that the Irish team had earlier kick in. Like, they were on the back foot, because obviously if you have a bigger economy, you're also investing more resources into making the economy bigger, and there's a bit of a lag time until you start to translate that bigger economy into more army and technologies on the field. And early Imperial Age felt like Vinchester and Dench were making some headway, denying castles, denying resources, but eventually it kicked into gear, and the timing was good as well. This, though, is a big win for the Russian team to find all these villages down here and deny them yet more gold. However, they haven't killed that many villagers, and they've got like 20 plumed archers here, whilst the main army of the Irish team is about to hit their base, so they better come home quick. And also, they're not completely denying gold anymore. The Irish team's here, they're presumably back here. Yeah. And that castle was a bit optimistic. I'm not quite sure of the point of that. It's because it's not hitting the gold. It was probably going to get trebbed down. Or at least start a treb war that the Russian team probably weren't in the best spot to participate in because of having fewer resources from a slightly smaller eco. It's now starting to be the same. They've actually got more villagers, but these extra villages were all added much later. So it's still really paid off for the Irish team. And look at all those plumed archers popping out of the siege rams like a Mesoamerican Trojan horse, or multiple Trojan horses. Like, surprise! And really the production now is everything, because not only do Melkor and Feanor have 80 plumes compared to 40 or so of the Russian team, but they've got 5 castles to 2, and there's just no way that the Russian team can actually amass the number of plumes to fight this anymore. Even if they get a lot of siege rams in there doing work, the difference is just drastic, and that's why we see the Russian base just being slowly mopped up now as the rams make their way in. Also, looks like this was maybe the second stone of Vinchester and Dench, and they haven't taken a lot of it. There's only one panel significantly mined there, and it seems that the Irish team has...
Thank you,
donation.
thank you,
Let me quickly get... Nimano, wow, $50. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm actually overwhelmed at the level of support we've received today, that we've got up to like 461 now. We've had like $261 and during this donation stream. I said scream. That's a good Freudian slip for it being Halloween weekend, isn't it? But yeah, thanks so much again, guys. Really hoping this draws out some experts and we have the best tournament possible. But anyway, focusing back in on the game, seems like a good number of rams being added in by the Russian team, so just trying to equalise the plumed archers difference a bit by getting more rams into the fight. But most of the Irish team's plumed archers aren't here actually, they are down in the south, and it seems like they lost quite a lot. I maybe got distracted for a little too long by the donation, but ultimately the Irish team, just great map controls, fortified stone walls, boxing in Russia in the along the kind of western map edge, random plumes sniping away at them, denying second stone so they can't get up more castles. And I feel like Russia could be poised to lose a lot more economy now if all of these plumes start to dive into their economy. But certainly I'm not quite sure where the 80 odd plumes that Melkor and Feanor did have went. They went down to like 60 or so, without seemingly a corresponding reduction in Vinchester and Dench's plumes. So maybe they just took a bad fight where they were shooting rams and the enemy plumes were shooting their plumes. But this sort of stuff is killer. Like, the villagers just can't hurt those plumes, and they are just going to stand there, possibly going unnoticed, or well, close to unnoticed for the next minute or so. And although the plumes are now there, but just able to kill off villagers so quickly, especially when you put them on a hill. This as well, just one siege ram will take down that TC and the volleys from the plumes, and as soon as that TC goes down, the bloodbath that is going to ensue, it's going to be brutal. Here it is. As long as somebody's microing. There we go. Really, they should have positioned the plumes here instead of there, just before they did the last damage on the TC. But the problem for the Russian team now is they've got a lot of villagers, sure, but they don't have enough military, and relative to the pop cap, it's probably too many military for posting mines. Like, if they were at the pop cap, I'd be saying delete a few vills now. Not many, but a few. Like 20. But really what they need to focus on is getting the pop cap. And right now, I'm actually quite sad that we're not going to see this ram train hit, because this is obscene. It's like 20 rams. And we see the GGs coming in. Game 1 being taken by the Irish team. 50-minute game. Pretty good game. There was a moment when it felt like the Russian team had some advantage. They were doing good damage in early Cascade with fast ballistics and plumes and archer armour. But ultimately, they didn't manage to push enough here. And the fact that the Irish team got onto villager numbers a lot earlier, high villager numbers, boomed a bit more. They had a rocky period, late Castle, early Imp, but they did manage to stabilise it. The fact that they had the villagers on the map much earlier did allow them to have enough about them to push it back. And then it was pretty much a steamroll forward across the map, taking good map control, raiding well, pushing well. And they will lead 1-0, and we'll play Islands next. And we'll also update the prize pool. Thank you once again, Nemino. Oh, I need to not play that music. That might get copyright matched and mute the start of the video. Let's go back to the start of that album. Spectate delay is counting down. I'm actually going to be right back. Just Islands Dark Age, so you won't miss much. But I will be like 1 minute late for the start of the game. Okay, I'm here. We're into game 2 from the grand final of Brothers in Arms. Melkor and Feanor winning 1-0, and it's an Islands game. It's all set maps and it's hidden civ, no repeats. So both teams going with the Vikings here, and it's interesting because I guess it was just joking a bit, but the Irish team were suggesting they were saving Vikings for later, and even though there's probably better choices, it wouldn't surprise me to see them take Vikings on the Arabia map like they were joking about, because I know Melkor just really loves them, and perhaps in a co-op setting they'd be pretty damn good with both players going aggressive on the double dry Arabia, that map that is, where you have 2 TCs start. But ultimately, you'd think something like Huns would be the best idea on that map. As the same for playing it in 1v1 double TC start. Anyway, Islands map here. Both teams, Vikings as I mentioned. Interesting map because there's basically very little deep water with actual fish in it surrounding the islands of the players. The good duck part is to the western edge of both players' islands, but I think they will dock here, and actually there's 2 deep fish there, so that's fine. It will be a good dock for Melkor and Feanor to start off with. But dock position for the Russian team is going to be interesting, because the spot that they want to put it, actually they found a decent one. They really, thanks. Thank you, Feanor. Good. Let me just check the lobby. So it was a restart by the Russian team. So far we've had an admin restart and those two players restarting. So I think that's it. I think it's just one restart for the whole series. Pretty sure I read that the other day. With the Irish team still having their player/team restart available to use. Interesting. In the chat, Patau says the Islands Dark Age of Melkor and Feanor that nobody casted yesterday was a disaster. Will be interesting to see how it goes this time. So I guess they were probably treading on each other's toes with the Dark Age too much. I've just seen Nemo's justification for his donation. Not needing to pay anymore. You absolute rascal. Yeah, I'll turn team colours on if that's causing problems. Yeah, I should have looked to see what actually caused them to read, but I just didn't want to hold them up as to come back. Just wanted to come back to the lobby quickly. Spectator delay is counting down now. Less than 60 seconds until we're in. And as Heart of Courage starts to build, we head into Game 2. The restarted version of. Vic used their restart in the previous game, so their only restart available for either team is the one that's the Irish team has now. Chat off once again. So let's have a look at the dock positions, potential positions this time. I think it's far easier to not do a bad dock on this map. You look, even in the narrows between the two islands and around, there's actually just like a line of deep fish on this small channel of deep water. And also, if you just look around the sides, around the back, there's deep fish everywhere, so they can't do bad docks here. So that's good. I hate it when you see an islands game where just because somebody's first dock is hideous and their fishing is terrible, then they're just late to Castle Age and lose partly as a result of that. Of course, they could just micro better and turn it around and kill the enemy fish, of course, but you never like to see the luck factor hinging, turning a game like that, potentially. Because you can't always scout it. Sometimes the extra island positioning screws you over. Anyway, Patao mentioning in the chat with the previous game that the Irish team struggled with their Dark Age in one of the Islands games yesterday, or rather the recorded games that Nobody 41 casted yesterday that were played previously. They've obviously had that experience, maybe they've learned from it, improved their cooperation. I imagine they're probably just overwriting each other's commands or something. Seems they're going to try for a back dock, perhaps. Let's see from a scouting point of view. They know there's some deep water there, and this is reasonably far from the map edge, but they don't see any deep fish with the scout themselves, so a little bit of a risk potentially. But a dock here should be fine. You can assume that there's plenty of deep water and some deep fish here. And that sort of is the case, but the problem is the island protrudes around here and almost landlocks it. So they're only going to have like 2 deep fish in the back to work with. So the back docks are not great. I wonder if on the back of what we just heard about the fact that their Dark Age can go somewhat wrong, or has done in the past on Islands, they want to just give themselves a little bit more room to get into the game by back docking, because the enemy team executes route a lot better than you. Their front docking can be more of a risk. Pushing deer now. Seems to be going fine for them. They haven't brought in the second boar though. I imagine that they'll send the scout to lure the second boar after they've pushed this deer. Meanwhile, dock position for Russian team. Just perfect. I'm going to look at the scouting. Yeah, they could just see that there's loads of deep water over there from obviously they've built the dock and sent the fishing ship out now, but just from the scouting position you can tell that this bottom corner is going to be really nice, just looking at the shape of the islands. Second boar being lured by the scout. Timing's basically identical on that. Let's have a look for deer. Yeah, they push deer too. It looks like, well, it could be 1 deer or it could be 2, couldn't it? I need to go and put my phone on charge for a second because it's going dangerously low on battery, and I need to be able to tell the stream's running okay and see the chat. Alright, Melkor and Feanor advancing to the feudal age, clicking up at 740, which is a pretty nice time. So the disastrous Dark Age that we were told about in Bros Islands games of days gone by has not manifested here, and they will have a pretty damn efficient Dark Age, going up 25 pop, pretty standard. Vikings, 20 villagers, 1 scout and 4 fishing ships on islands. Meanwhile, Russian team, 27 population, 2 extra villagers. Kinda late for them, and I mean it's a side dock, it's quite far from the enemy dock, although they don't really know that because they obviously haven't scouted over there to the other side of the map just yet. Can't find 2 sheeps. Well, that's because you didn't scout properly, so a bit late for that. You're not admin reading. Yeah, they're kind of late. If the Irish team had gone with front docks and been really aggressive with sent their galleys out early, it could. I've seen them fall behind, but with the back dock that the Irish team did, not going to hurt them at all. Now we kind of see the problem with the specific back docks that they did, because there's not that much fish in the back and they're already taking shore fish. It's fairly efficient because they haven't got to travel at all really. I think it's like the distance of sort of 14 tiles where the deep fish and the shore fish stop. One becomes more efficient than, well, the shore fish become more efficient to take if they're right next to the dock. So it's okay. Well, it's not like sometimes when you can backdock the corner, and especially if you're Japanese, just absolutely abuse it. Oh, transport. So that's why they went up a bit later. It was deliberate. Interesting. I'd have thought Vinchester would fancy himself from the Galley Micro War against them. I really would. So this is unexpected play for me. It's going to head out to the eastern edge of the map and go up there. That's not going to be the best spot to land because they land anywhere around here. First of all, I mean, this is all me talking because I can see the whole map. Let me add that. But it's not going to be the best spot to land because of the fact that they'll end up landing near the docks. They're going to have line of sight to this whole narrow area. They're going to have to cross the narrow area unless they kind of like stealth through there. I don't think this is going to work out too well for them. And the transport is being intercepted. It's taking a lot of damage very quickly. They're going to try and micro it down, but it should make it to the shore. The question is that with the surprise factor gone, 36 HP, last 2 shots missed, and they're going to land. But that's 2 unaccompanied villagers. I mean, the feudal scout can pretty much kill those wherever it's gone. Ten military, there's 3, and all of that 3 military, or 4 military is here. So they're still adding a few guys by the looks of it. The archery range is already being walled in. 1 villager there, that's going down. This villager is going to get trapped if it carries on building the archery range and they speed wall here. This has not gone well for Vinchester's team. Are they going to speed wall it? Yep. Villager trapped. Archers trapped. Put a tower down there. Fine. They are going to take away that main gold and the wood for now. But the Irish team is mining this gold. They're not going to be unduly bothered about that. And they can even just power build a tower to kill the villager that's trapped in there. Anyway, donation $1. So wish I could do more. Thank you. Every little is appreciated and valued. I saw you saying something about PayPal fees. I'm sorry that it's incurring those fees for you. I'll add it in after the game so we don't miss too much of the action. But yeah, that villager is going to die to the tower. The archers are not going to be able to get out either. And the Irish team have taken pretty much full control of the water. There's still a couple of rogue galleys circling around for Vinchester and Dench. In fact, the military is higher than I expected at 10, but I guess some of that is archers. Oh no, just 1 archer in there. 9 warships, but they're just sort of... Okay, there's pretty spread around, about 4 there, 4 here. They go for another transport. Interesting. I don't think Melkor and Feanor saw that one. Their galleys are over here, so they would have been a bit too far away. So they'll try and land on this side this time. And, wow, 2 villager kills by the Russian team as they try to get a blacksmith up near the shore. That will have to be deleted and rebuilt further inland. But good to get 2 villagers there, but they're still 2 behind by the looks of it, unless there's any idle fishing ships contributing. But meanwhile, they have 8 fishing ships in the back to naught for the Russian team. So Castle Age time, there's going to be a big difference between the 2 of them, and with 8 fishing ships not working that efficiently, but 8 fishing ships taking shore fish is still a big deal. And the population difference is quite sizable, 56 to 44. I think that villager probably got dropped off too close to the house as they saw this. They have to have seen it to be reacting at this time, I think. Don't know if they got town watch. I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe they have. And that villager actually, well, certainly being found. I thought for a second it was going to go down under a withering hail of arrows from the galleys, but I think only 1 or 2 galleys could reach. Melkor and Feanor, though, well aware of what's going on. They won't suffer any damage really. Only a watchtower, and that's an outpost. here could really hurt them that much by denying gold, but I think ultimately they could get around that anyway. He'd probably even take some of this gold and just jump in the tower the moment the archers pop out, although it would be a little bit inefficient. The mining camp would have to be like there. On the water, the Russian team's still trying to compete. They have probably as many galleys, or almost as many as the Irish team at this point. I can't believe what they're doing. They're walling the whole shore. That's a lot of wood. That's like 200 wood to do that. Wall the sea. It's pretty crazy. But they're on their way to the Castle Age. I can't believe they're fearing transports this much. Like, they should have... I feel like they've let them back on the water a little bit more than they possibly should have done. But with you having back docks and everything, and having had more galleys earlier on, I'm surprised they couldn't just lock this area down and not have to go to such unusual lengths to not get landed around the back of the island. Anyway, watchtower comes up there. They started building an outpost and then deleted it and turned into a watchtower. That's pretty sneaky. But Melkor and Feanor will get their own. However, if they want anything else that needs stone, they're going to have to buy it. And for now, not mining gold very efficiently, so the Russian team doing what they can to be annoying. How are they looking for Castle Age time? Still only 300 food, so a long way off. So the red team, the Irish team, will... Interesting box formation there. The Irish team will take control of the water when they hit Castle Age, but the archers are in. Wonder where the hole was, because I guess it's transport. And this is going to be pretty bad, because suddenly they're looking... well, they're lacking space, aren't they? Struggling to get on gold. Back to have this wood gathering economy hit. I mean, the TC is not even scary anymore because there's not many villagers by it. But even so, when you see the flag, you think there must be some villagers in it. But they can see now as they go that it's just one arrow. But some quick walling and probably jump some more vills into the TC. Those three should get in the TC. Four archers. Do a lot of damage here, but quick wall them to keep herd them towards the tower a bit. Oh, standing on the foundation. They're going to get in some more. War galley trying to do some more damage, but they are really idling a lot of the eco, even if they're not killing so much. And they've lost so many villagers on the gold mine from the tower while they were paying attention to this. Feanor and Melkor really losing a lot right now. They're taking control of the water. But they're 30 villagers to 40. And they've only got 4 fishing ships, which are... Okay, they're still gathering efficiently. But considering they're going to be so late to the Castle Age and potentially losing the water, the Russian team have done a good job of inflicting a lot of damage back at home for the Irish team. And now, using the speed of the galleys to kind of chase down the ships and, well... Someone said that they don't. The feudal galleys don't actually move faster than the war galleys. It's just because they're smaller units. They group up on the micro better, and that's why you can run down. I'm not sure whether they do have the exact same movement speed, and it is just due to that thing of being smaller or not. But they're certainly more manoeuvrable than war galleys. And in the greater numbers here, they're actually microing the fight against the war galleys of Melkor and Feanor, and that's pretty impressive. Like, they've lost almost nothing. Vinchester's who is presumably controlling this, microing his heart out, and they've now got like 30 galleys to 14, and Castle Age is not far off, and they could still take this fight. They are turning this game in a way that I never thought would actually happen. Let's take a look what's going on here. Those guys need transporting around, but I don't see the transport anymore. No, university, not siege workshop. Just so many skeletons everywhere. Now Vinchester is just waiting for the war galley. He's reached the Castle Age. He's not going to lose all his docks by the time those galleys transform into war galleys. So, Castle Age, War Galley, Bodkin all being researched, and the Irish team now worried about these archers finally breaking their way through the palisade. They are going to be having to work hard to find any openings in this base, considering the kind of maze that Melkor and Feanor have constructed here. But there is a weakness in it, and that's one tile of palisade wall and one tile of palisade wall there. If only they had a few more numbers and maybe crossbows or something, they could bust through there and there really quickly and get into the wood and the gold. But as it happens, they're going to be pretty delayed. War Galley sitting on the shore, like daring them to come into the sea. Okay, ballistics for Melkor and Feanor, bowsaw for Vinchester and Dench. Don't know if I saw the red team get bowsaw or not. We saw in the first game it was super late for them. I almost want to check. Yeah, let's check the War Galley numbers overall. We've got 21 for Melkor and Feanor and 27 for Russia, for Vinchester and Dench. So it's a remarkable turnaround, honestly. To go from having kind of had a sort of failed landing, lost the water, being way slower to castle, and now they are having more villagers and more galleys. Just trying to check for any shenanigans anywhere else. There's no landings on Purple Island. Doesn't seem like they have a villager left on this island either now. Archers have busted through the first palisade, but they can't go through here. I guess it's fully in range of the TC, isn't it? That's, like, maybe if they stood there, but I think it'd still be in range. It needs to, like, they'd have to stand on the tile that the palisade is on to be out of range of the TC, I think. So I don't think they'll get through there unless they opportunistically dive through by the TC. But in the meantime, big engagement on the water. Both players, both teams bringing basically all their fleet here. Really hard to tell because of the sheer amount of galleys grouped up on one spot there for Vinchester and Dench. It feels like about 20, but they are taking the fight. There's still like 15 there to 5. Some more coming in here, but GG. Big comeback. Really big comeback. I mean, I pretty much summarised the game before about how a few minutes ago about how they came back from the disadvantage that they had. About to slaughter all of this as well. Well, not that quickly because it's only 5 archers, but still, great comeback. Exciting game as well. Maybe we should do Islands games in co-op all the time. I like Islands anyway. Okay, let's check the donation. Loco Lobo the 13th. $1 to add to the amount. Keep losing the thing I need to change in my OBS. 462 and 462. And the score is 1-1. Right, next game. Players have already headed into the game setup screen, so it won't be long. It will be another watery map because it'll be double Mediterranean with 2 TCs per team. So should be pretty fast and furious once again. Looking forward to it. And I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be back into the game very shortly.
Yes.
But I'm here. And it's double Mediterranean. This time we have a different civilization for the two teams, because we've got Huns for the Russian team and Mongols for the Irish team. Interesting. Like, it's gonna be a pretty aggressive map. So Mongol uptime, and with double amounts of hunting and everything, pretty good. Obviously Huns always good in double TC, especially to avoid getting housed. I think good civ choices for both, really. With it being double Mediterranean, the water area is quite cramped because you have sort of 4 bases, 4 land areas protruding into the water. The way the map generation works is that there's something called a base size that specifies a minimum number of tiles that the TC must be from the water in any direction, which is why you sometimes get these square edges like this. So that just forces the bases to protrude into the map, into the water a bit, and make it so that it's almost like Baltic down here, actually. But good fishing everywhere, pretty much. And I think this is going to be a really interesting map just to see the players, first of all, having to negotiate the fact that you've now got 2 TCs and sort of both players playing their own game, if you like, managing their own area, perhaps. Although they could do it all differently. They could divide the labour differently. But having to share the single resource pool. I mean, it's like that with 1v1 on double TC maps, but you haven't got the kind of potentially competing aspect of there being another player in there draining your resources for things you weren't expecting at times you weren't expecting, depending on how well synced up you are as a co-op pair. Whoa, that deer patch is insane. Put a mill here and get, like, how many deer is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus shorefish. Awesome. I think that's both players' deer that have just spawned on top of each other, because there's no more deer anywhere. But yeah, it's quite a good map because there's still room to attack down the sides as well. It's not as cramped on the sides as Baltic. Insane amounts of extra sheep on this particular map as well. And we're going to be looking for fast rushes probably from both players, unless they want to be sneaking around the sides. Wow, Rush is going to steal a lot of sheep there from the red player. Flirting with the TC a bit too much. Villager pops out and regains ownership of those sheep. And yep, there was a boar steal, as is being mentioned. I did see it, but I just showed it on the screen, didn't I? But I didn't really comment on it. Going down here. To an extent with so much food to take. Obviously you're running 2 TCs as well, but still there's a lot of food to take. It means that you can negotiate that loss of a boar even on a water map where uptime is important. But still, with the difference in uptimes that we're going to see, it will have had something of an effect, as well as the fact that there's twice as much hunting for the Mongols to take advantage of. They've actually gone up on a really low population, the Irish team here, for a double TC map. I'm not suggesting it's inappropriately low or a poor choice to go up there, but it's on double TC maps it's unusual to see players going up with only 28 villages. But I guess, is this the first time we've ever had double Mediterranean? Because I don't think it really existed before Brothers in Arms. Because basically they made the map pack for this pool and there were some problems with it, and I offered to redo the map pack for the admins, and so like I don't think there was any template to work from for double Mediterranean. Like I don't think anybody had made it before, so like for this tournament this could have introduced what I think is a pretty damn good map actually. I'd love to see this being used for just some 1v1 tournaments occasionally as well. Looks like on the north, are they going to go? I'm just wondering what these villages are doing up here. Is their approach going to be to just do full eco in the north now and rush in the south? Because it seems they're only docking the south. There was no docking to get fish in the north. In fact, they didn't, using the Mongols bonuses, they didn't even dock during the Dark Age. They did the docks afterwards. Meanwhile, purple. Going to be on 4 docks straight away, going up to feudal age now. Going to have 41 villagers to run 4 docks easily. Even if they're not Vikings, I think you can easily run 4 docks straight away like that. But yeah, they've got through the feudal age now, and I still don't see galleys for... Where am I missing it? Oh no, here we go. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't see them really taking too much advantage of the galleys and the fast uptime, because there's not really any much fishing to hit. Seems like the Russian team moved one fishing ship up here, try and keep it out of the way, but it's not like you can crush your enemies 4 fishing ships. Both teams taking an approach to the Dark Age and the double TC water map, emphasising collecting all the land food and not really caring about getting a dock up and some fishing ships out. So going up fast and only being able to do 2 docks initially, and I don't know if it's going to prove to have been worth it, because the Russian team is just going to ramp up their production faster. See, they're 8 villages ahead, there's 6 galleys to 5 despite being considerably later to the feudal age. I think I like the approach of the Russian team to do something that's a little bit more standard that you see on other double TC maps, where you go up with like 40 bills. Because if we saw the strength of Vinchester's galley micro even against war galleys in the last game. You can just go up and get whoever's responsible for producing the galleys, but leave Vinchester just to concentrate on microing, and you're giving him like 4 or 5 galleys every round of like however long the creation time is, 30 seconds or something. That's a pretty fearsome thing to contend with, and already I get the feeling that the Irish team is losing the water. Only now doing a 4th dock, but they are adding scouts. Question is, how are they going to get them inside? They're walled on both sides. 2 villagers heading towards the southern corner. Are they aware of this wall? No, they're not. And seems like they're creating a bit of a trap. They will get a bunch of fishing ships, but they're trouble. But the red team doesn't have any fishing ships anyway, so this is only evening a disadvantage that they're currently suffering, and they're going to lose all the galleys already. This is really strong performance on the water by Vic, but in essence it was a strategy decision that has backfired on the Irish team. Only now discovering the walls. Dropping frames. Yeah, it seems I did drop a few. It should be fixed though. The game is running a bit fast, and I don't know why, but I don't want to touch the speed controls because stuff starts breaking then. And you end up having to constantly fiddle with the speed. Is it causing a problem for a lot of the viewers? Forgot to turn team colours on like somebody asked previously. Let's do that. And confusingly, it's actually changed to put Melkor and Feanor in blue now, with the Russian team being in red, Vinchester and Dench. But someone did ask for team colours much earlier on and I didn't do it. Looks fine to you, but
thank you, you wonderful man!
$20 donation from Anton Caridian. Keep up the good job presenting these games. Thanks very much indeed. Don't have time to add it to the pool just now of these live games going on. Don't want to miss anything, but thanks so much for supporting the tournament, and I'll add it in after the game. Melkor and Feanor on the way to the Castle Age. And looks like some attempt to redock in the south, adding an archery range and barracks to build the archery range down in the south. The Vink team will actually discover the redock though, and I guess they also probably considered using this to transport around the walls, but with them making 3 docks, it's clearly also an attempt to regain the water in terms of galleys too. Obviously with the... Look at this deer slaughter, that's disgusting. Someone called Peter. Is it Peter? I think it is. Animal rights group. There's one they left alive anyway. He needs a partner to help repopulate the Earth. Oh, brutal. Anyway. 25 military to 4, 3, 2. And I don't get to say 1 and finish the countdown, unfortunately. But Vic, the Russian team, are really dominant on the water now. They've foiled the redocking attempts. They shouldn't be able to sneak transports around, although there's not enough guys here to really prevent them from doing that. And maybe with the villagers going down there, that's what they're trying to do. But no, just add more docks. Build fire ships, okay? That might be a way back. But Vic are going to have a lot of war galleys. So there's a question how much the fire ships are actually going to be able to do against this number. "72 villagers for the Irish team as well, so they're a bit behind in villages as well as just massively behind on water numbers. Docks going down pretty damn quick to this amount of galleys. Someone in the chat is like, oh, it's complete domination. Hard to disagree at this point. They really didn't get any advantage from the fast Mongol uptime. I mean, the fact that the Russian team didn't even have fish for them to kill particularly was a big deal. A little bit of miss micro there by Vinchester, presumably just diving in towards the fire ships a little bit. He's going to kite back, but I almost want him to just turn and run completely against the fire ships and just get War Galley and Bodkin instead of standing there. But even so, there's just so many galleys. Even with the losses that they're taking, they're going to come out of this on top. And now, there we go. War Galley, Bodkin arrow. Bang, bang, bang. Load of sunken fire ships. And now what are you going to do, brothers? Well, they're going to go to the Imperial Age. And they do have a good number of villages, around 80. But what they're going to do with it, I don't know. Researching War Galley, so they still want to take the water. It's pretty essential on this map because, you know, you can just achieve so much map control from the water. So they're still going to fully contest there and not just try and push on the land, although it would theoretically be possible to just try and break through down here. Difficult, but possible. Meanwhile, the Russian team building up stables in the north, so it looks like they'll go for knights and ultimately cavaliers in the Imperial Age. Presumably they're not far off. Yeah, 800, 700 food, 450 gold. The Night Flood will come after they go up to the Imperial Age. Right now, really controlling all the shorelines, spreading their galleys, destroying the remaining docks, hitting villages as well. Great overall map control. And I'm struggling to see what their play is for the blue team. Like, they're going to lose docks before they even produce much out of them. There's like 3, 6, 9, 12 fire ships there still. That's quite a lot for like 20 galleys to deal with, but even so. And the problem is that in the north they have nothing to stop the Russian team from transporting knights into their economies, where it is going to be pretty open. I mean, imagine knights hitting this, it would be pretty brutal. Meanwhile, fast fire ship being researched by the Mongols. It's going to be close to 20 fast fire ships. Maybe they can do something. There's only so far you can run your galleys on Mediterranean. And now the fleet is coming. If Tato is watching right now, he'd love this. He'd love it even more if they were demolition ships, but just building anything other than just pure war galleys. But really, as we look at this, the actual armour that the fast fire ships have is really able to withstand so much fire from the war galleys. The war galleys do almost no damage to them. and they're actually taking the water back now. So great move by Melkor and Feanor. I was expecting the Vic team to be up to the Imperial Age by now, to be honest, but the problem is, even as they win the water, this is happening on the land. Villager after villager going down, and will continue to. There is nowhere to hide all these villagers. I don't think they made any extra TCs on the south at all, so just rip all these villagers. They're frantically making stables to build camp and researching heavy camel, but I bet they've got no upgrades either. So the first few camels that come out are going to be not doing too well against the +2, +1 bloodline knights anyway. And heavy camel is so slow to research. Yeah, right now the Melkor and Feanor economy in the north, every villager either idle or dead. Down to 60 villagers in total. They're actually TC dropping the enemy main gold in the north, which is pretty damn cheeky. Putting up a siege workshop in that location. And in the south, very few villagers working. They've got 60 villagers, 46 idle, so 150 vills. They aren't going to be able to afford heavy camels at all, really. There's 3 here, but they're only producing 1. They have almost no food and gold in the bank. So I guess okay, they're actually getting food in the water now, of course, aren't they? Because they've retaken the fish. But I guess it was just so perfectly timed by the Russian team just to hit them like this at the moment that they'd invested so much into going into the water. It's absolute death blow. And GG, they didn't even need to go to the Imperial Age. I was saying I expected the Russian team to be in the Imperial Age earlier, and that would potentially allow them to fight back against the fast fireship onslaught if they had all the upgrades on the galleons. But they didn't bother to do that. They just stayed in the Castle Age, boomed really hard. I mean, they got the fish. No, actually, they didn't take too much fish, but boomed really hard and just flooded knights and ripped the entire ecos of Melkor and Feanor. It was amazing that they took the water, but it was at the cost of the land and ultimately the game. So, Anton Caridian, we must add your donation to the total. Well, not before updating the score, because I always forget that. $482, we're almost at $500, which just amazes me. Like I said much earlier on when we got to $300, I was like, that was my target for the stream, to get the tournament prize pool up to 300, and to think that we're nearly touching 500 is awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry about if there were some drop frames during the stream. I'm still at 0.16% dropped frames in the last 6.5 hours, so we're not doing too bad. I'm not entirely sure why it's not completely 0% drop frames, but I think we're okay. Next map will be Arena.
No.
Sorry if that was on the stream. I tried. I don't have the hotkey set up to mute my mic in time. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. Aztecs are banned for Arena.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, you wonderful man.
Adrian, thanks very much for the $10. Wow, creeping ever closer to that $500 mark. The game has just launched, but it is an Arena Dark Age, so I'll just edit in the prize pools already, because we won't be missing an incredible amount. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for supporting the tournament. 492 hype. Alright, here we go. Game 4 of Brothers in Arms Grand Final. Got Teutons versus Byzantines here on Arena, but it's not double Arena. So it'd be interesting to see the Monk micro here, because players will be able to concentrate fully, or one player for each team will be able to concentrate fully on micro and gaining control of the middle. Given that it is co-op, they'll be able to designate someone as the eco guy and someone as the fighting person, basically. And interesting civs. Teutons versus Byzantines. Now, I'm gonna lay my cards on the table here. I'm a total noob at Arena. I never watch it or play it very much. So, Teutons versus Byzantines, I'm just looking at the fact that we've got two very strong monk civs here, but the Teutons are obviously going to benefit from the conversion resistance here. So, maybe they'll come out on an edge on the initial monk battles in the middle of the arena. But, well, let's have to see. Map-wise, forward main stone will press right up against the walls. The gold is fairly safe, it's far enough away. I don't see the second gold for blue team. Where is their actual second gold? This must be their actual... Yeah, that's their gold, and it's touching the wall of red, which is pretty sucky for them, to be honest. That's the third gold of Vinchester and Dench, and this is their second and main gold. Great map for them, main gold in the back and the second one. Second stones down here, and lots of room to build up in the back, although they don't have any extra resources in the back, but that's the same for the blue team here as well. Neither arena generating with resources in the back, and all the extra map resources are in the south side. Just one extra gold and an extra gold which is stuck in the trees, and an extra stone. Not a terrible amount to fight over. Relics, pretty even. They got two down here that could be contested by either player. This one should be grabbed by the red team. This can be contested as well, and this one should be grabbed by the blue team. So, yeah, it could be looking at a situation where one team gets 3 relics and the other team gets 2 relics. Why was Aztecs banned, somebody says? Well, they are incredibly strong arena civ, and if somebody already used them in one of the other games, then... I mean, like, you could say that is a strategic choice that you'd have to make, but if it was Aztecs versus non-Aztecs, with one player being completely... Wow, is this going to be the one? Oh my god, that is the troll of all trolls. How can you do this to me, Crunked? Somebody, please donate a cent. I'm not even saying thank you for that. No, of course I'm saying thank you. With the Arena Dark Ages progressing, we still have time to update that now. Like, I'm hoping we'll get that 1 cent as soon as we can. It barely fits on my screen. Look at that, the 9 is being chopped off on the side. I can't believe you did this to me. Anyway. Yeah, I think I was saying that the Aztecs would be super strong if you had one person just decoying and the other one doing full smush. I mean, I suppose it's fair if both players have it and you just like set it as an Aztec wall, but if anybody else used Aztecs then earlier, then GG basically. And also, like, you got more chance. I mean, it's game 4 of the series with Aztecs banned and some civs being used, and them having used like Mayans and stuff already, most likely on Arabia. You had a good chance of seeing a non-mirror game here, so if the admins are thinking about that when they were setting stuff up with the tournament, then that's a good way of setting it up to try and get an interesting non-mirror match in these settings as well, I think. Alright, both players heading to the fuel age now. We see...
Thank you,
oh,
thank you, you
is this the one?
man.
I scream $10.01. Is there a minimum that you had to do that? I really hope you didn't have to donate $10 just to donate 1 cent. But if you wanted to do $10, again, that's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. So now we're at 510, nice round number. And we've crossed the $500 mark for Masters of Arabia 2v2, which I am overjoyed at. Man, we'll get to see this arena game in a minute. Nah, I'm kidding. Thanks so much, guys. Chewton's Civ is got up on 24. I think that 24 plus 2, there's going to be a smushing coming. Whereas the Vinchester team is going to be a little bit later. Heavily out to gold as well, so going to be a lot of monks coming from them too. Oh wait, I was looking at that the wrong way around. Yeah, of course, the ones going heavily out to gold was actually the team that went up on 24. I got the colours the wrong way around for a second there. Confused myself. But yeah, of course they are going to be going up fast, 24 plus 2, and getting a lot of monks out. Doing a smush. Let's see an approach less focused on that, more a little bit more towards booming from the Byzantine team here. Going up a bit later with what looks like a bit more of a boom build, but still one that will enable them to get some monks out to try and get some relics. Given that we're keeping 4 villages on gold going into the Castle Age. But this is pretty signaling intent to us, if not to the red team, which obviously you can't see much. In fact, they haven't scouted a lot. Did they lose their scout already? Yeah, killed to death 1-1-0. So where does the scout of red scout blue? Yeah, I guess the fast feudal age time meant that they could hunt down the red scout and kill it off without sustaining too much damage. It's sort of trapped, but it could come through here. Even trying to pick a vill. No loom. This is a little bit risky. They are on the way to the castle edge. They can't get loom either. I love that they moved the vill in there so that the scout will get hit by like 3 villages if they go after it again. Oh, did I not add 500 for the 510 for the in-game? 510. Oh yeah, I need to put 510 in there. Let me do it quickly. Actually, this is pointless because it's the out-of-game view, but never mind. Back into the game. No more kills and deaths. We didn't miss anything. We just leapfrogged everybody magically into the Castle Age. Second monastery going up for Melkor and Feanor. The monk rush is real. 1 monastery and a castle for Vinchester and Dench. Did I completely miss that they were on stone? Where are they on stone? Oh, there it is. So, yeah, to defend against the smush, they're going to have a castle at the front of the base in a pretty good spot. It's right where the monks will be popping out. It's not really protecting like any route into their base from a resources perspective, like protecting any important resources, but they don't really need to. I mean, they've got main gold, and second stone in the back, already taken a lot of the front stone. So I guess a nice forward one. Actually taking control of the third gold of Melkor and Feanor, which these guys might even be looking at the map and thinking that the gold belongs to them or something. Yeah, they're going to mine it. They probably think this is an extra map gold when it's actually theirs, because all the extra map golds have 3 tiles instead of 4. But yeah, Monk gets the first conversion in, gets wasted by the castle instantly, and they shot a deer while they're at it just for fun. Bit of a misclick there. Relics, I hear them, relics being picked up. One being deposited inside Melkor and Feanor's monasteries already. They actually have 2. I feel like they must have. Ah, it's 1 each on the relic count. There was one sort of here, wasn't there? I think that's the one that they got. And it's actually going to get 2, which is pretty good considering that they focused on the castle earlier and didn't go up so fast and didn't do 2 monasteries. To actually get 2 relics in that case is pretty neat. This team was going to go for an earlier siege workshop as well, but obviously that got denied with the monks being there, and they're not choosing to delete it because it's going to be like 20 wood to get it back. They'd rather try and finish it when they get the opportunity, I think. But wow, they're already on their way to the Imperial Age. They have 34 villages, and they're using the Byzantines' cheap Imperial Age to actually leapfrog right there. Pretty damn interesting. Meanwhile, back at home, still 1 TC for the Irish team. Not really much in the way of food eco at all, but they are starting to bank it, and they've got a very healthy gold income. Obviously, Relic's going to add into that. But for now, I'm focusing on a push in the Castle Age with some rams and monks on the front. Byzantine team, the Russian team, is going to use their fast imp to go into some archery range units. No sign of them building a university yet, so I don't know if chemistry is on the cards, or whether they'll just get some initially like crossbows to snipe the monks. I'm honestly out of my depth here, spectating arena games when crazy fast imps are going on. But yeah, Melkor and Feanor managing to click up to the Imperial Age now. Not too far behind, it's about 2 minutes of difference, maybe close to 2.5. Getting atonement to convert the enemy monks. Heresy coming in for Vinchester and Dench, pretty important upgrade. Annoying as hell as well.
Hey, ja?
Ja, bereite.
Yep, first crossbows coming out from Vinchester and Dench. First Treb on the front. Gonna start laying siege to monasteries, so they're gonna have to rebuild a new monastery in the back and actually, which they're already doing, and transport those relics. Relics get popped out, start moving them already. Pretty nice move by, well, it's not nice move, it's sort of obvious, isn't it? But it's a pretty good payoff to make them have to spend another 175 wood in another monastery at this point, when they definitely didn't really need another monastery, and then to, you know, a few seconds where they're not getting the relic income either. Every little helps. I'm interested to see like what use they're going to make of the fast imp on the Teuton side. And now it just seems like a million monks. It's going to be death by 1,000 monks. I'm not sure about that against what is going to be probably a lot of arbalests as soon as the Russian team can afford those upgrades. Getting every monk upgrade. I guess what they can do is, because they've got 2 players to micro the monks, they can potentially have insane monk micro. Can you imagine doing this as Aztecs if you had like a couple of dozen monks that have all got all the upgrades, so they've got, I don't know how much HP it is, it's like 90 HP, and then 2 players microing their heart out. And when Feanor was playing Masters of Arena the other day, and some games against, I don't know, was it Demax or Eddie? Both of those were casting on Google Official. LB10 was saying Feanor's monk micro is really good. And maybe Feanor's the guy that's been tasked with that, but theoretically, both Melkor and Feanor could be doing it. So capture ramps from Melkor and Feanor dealing with a single batching ramp of Vinchester and Dench. Now the monk micro is going to kick in. How many crossbows can they get? Answer is not many. Even the rams aren't helping. I mean, the rams are not going to help when you've got this micro capacity and rip. They're getting nothing. They're getting absolutely nothing. Not a single crossbow converted. Oh my god. Which team is Teutons here? Rip! Panic Watchtower, they're not... Is that even going to go up? Yeah, it will, but... Whoa! Yeah, I know both teams got heresy, but even so, like, I can't believe nothing got converted. I was sitting here with my head in my hands. It was just the amount of gold on those monks, and obviously they'd spent so much gold on upgrades as well. So now we've got 43 villagers to 38. Considering that raid, it's really not a massive differential, but if you think how many resources just went down the drain for Melkor and Feanor, it's astonishing. Yeah, you can do that in Nobly Foil. And the reason I was doing it is because I got baited by the chat. I thought it was the, what am I saying? The Resistance one, but that's... I can't even remember the name of it. Like, I don't remember some of the slightly more obscure monk text names sometimes. I thought that was what someone was getting at. I always think that it's called Martyrdom because that's what it's called in AoE 1. But anyway, heading out to the next game. That's pretty fast GG and a decisive move because of the expos. Just slaughtering all those monks, 1,000 gold down the drain, and deciding it pretty damn quickly. In favour of Vinchester and Dench, so they're actually on match point now. But yeah, I always get distracted when I mess up a monk tech when I'm casting arena, because I did, to be fair, start the game, I did lay my cards on the table. I was like, I'm an arena noob. I know more or less what I'm talking about on the other maps. But I think the last time I casted an arena that wasn't double TC arena, God knows, it could have been like last October when Bact and Tato played in the last Polaris, I think, possibly. And I did that with Milmana, and we both made fools of ourselves during that game as well. But that was a pretty fun game after that move. Like, co-op arena, I could get on board with that.
I tell you what, whose comment it was that did that to me. It was Quilalvea, right? Because I read it and I thought he was referring to the resist conversion upgrade. And then I was like, oh yeah, they got the resist conversion upgrade. But I actually said heresy. Alright, 3 match points for Vinchester and Dench. After the game 1, where Melkor and Feanor were pretty comfortable in that game after a slight scare in late Castle Age / early Imp. I expected Melkor and Feanor to be doing pretty well from then on, not necessarily taking the series, but it surprised me to see them lose some games pretty decisively. Like the Islands game, they threw away quite a big advantage. I think Vinchester, like water micro in that game was pretty key. And then strategy choice for double Mediterranean was a bit off, I think, going up so fast. And then obviously the arena game. Seems like we've got a little bit of a delay until the next game starts because they haven't launched a spectator delay just yet. It's going to be Borders Dispute, which is going to be, well, has a lot of potential to be funny. I'm going to take a quick break. Right, so we got movement on the spectator delay now, and it's almost elapsed, so almost into the game. Border dispute. I haven't seen a border dispute game for quite a while either. Fortunately, I don't think I have to worry too much about the monk text on that one. My voice is suffering now. Being highly worthwhile to have streamed for so long. It's absolutely awesome that we've got $500 for Masters of Arabia 2v2, but God, my voice is suffering, and I already had a cold that I haven't recovered from. So, border dispute now. It's 3-1 to Vinchester's team in a best of 7. So they could win it in this game. Melkor and Feanor have got to win every game from now on. And we see the craziness at the start of the game. And the Boars are actually much closer to Melkor and Feanor's TC. So it seems like Gaia actually wants Melkor and Feanor to have a route back into the series and get them back into the series. But even so, the Boars will go 2-2, despite them being so much closer to Melkor and Feanor's TC, which I've always thought is a real balance issue with this map, that it can be like that. First of all, the relative difference of the TCs, relative difference in the distance of the TCs to the leafy area, but also the Boars can be positioned anywhere on them as well. But going to have a nice even start with 2 on the Boars front. Both teams with very pushable deer. I think they're coded to start like obscenely close to the TC on border dispute. Especially helpful if you don't get any boars. But this is hilarious. I think they're actually going to try and push one of the enemy deer to their own TC the long way round. But that is the kind of stupid stuff you can do when you're playing co-op that you can't do in a regular 1v1. I said in the Arabia game that I'd be interested to watch this co-op series and see if I see stuff where I'm like, that's co-op. You can do that in co-op and you can't do it when you're playing normally, and this is it. Pushing the enemy's deer to your TC from the opposite side of their TC on border dispute is pretty damn cheeky, but it may get interfered with here. Where is Vinchester and Dench going to go? They're going to go this side, but the deer reacts to the blue scout first and goes back to pushing it just in time. Looking at the maps, they're already laming the stone around the back. That's pretty important. I've seen in team games laming be really effective here on board dispute. Certainly a couple that I can remember from like last year's version of Clan Masters, the Clan Masters Invitational, I think. Or was it like Nations Cup placement matches? Anyway, main goals, 2 main goals for each team. For Russia, both of their main goals are sort of backwards and off to the side. Similar situation for Melkor and Feanor, so very even map. Both stones in the back there, but obviously they're being lamed as we speak. Second stone for Russia is off to the side, with the other one being in the back. Extra map resources, both have got extra gold sort of way off behind their base, and then there's some extra stuff to the south, so very fair map. I guess the potential difference is the forage bush position, but with one berry bush for each team, it barely matters, especially when they're pushing deer and stuff. So it looks like Melkor and Feanor actually located the villager that was doing the laming, and they're going to kill it. That villager is actually completely healthy, so they can pull the scout out of that fight, and that's actually got 3 HP as well. So, importantly for Melkor and Feanor, they're not completely losing access to all the stone, and I wonder if that meant that the Russian team wanted to try and lane the stone and then go fast up and try and trash. So common to see towers all over the place in board dispute, of course. I hadn't looked at the civ choices up until now. Mongol is obviously good for being aggressive on board dispute in any
where you choose with the uptime. Assuming you get boars especially, but very pushable deer as well. Although neither Civ has actually gone up at a different time here. They're both 17 villages and the exact same uptime. And then Spanish are good Civ for trushing, of course, building them faster. And it's really important that they actually managed to avoid all of the stone being lamed here, because it would have really thrown a spanner in the works with picking Spanish if they hadn't been able to get on any stone. And they're really heavily on it now, which just shows you how much that was the plan. Just do chat off. Villager fight in the north.
Servidora?
I know he's winning. Got a feeling it might be
Sí.
blue, but red is bringing her friends. Nah, look at these guys. They don't even care. Okay, he's going to help out. He's the only one with any chivalry. Tower coming up here. Gonna try and hit the stone that Vinchester and Dench are currently mining. And also gonna stop potentially stop the tower that's coming up. I think those vills should be in range, but it's too busy firing away here. One red vill going down right into the TC. Yeah, that tower's hitting the base of the tower rather than the vills. So it'll go up. It's only hitting the lumber camp for now. Although I say only as if that's not a big deal. It's certainly a big deal. And just TCs and towers firing at vills all over the place. We've hit the feud legends. Suddenly there's towers and vill wars just everywhere. Trying to hit the stone of Melkor and Feanor. This is a really good tower because it's basically the only thing that was allowing the Melkor and Feanor to carry on with their strategy was the fact that they stopped the laming on the stone. So if they just build a tower on it, is more or less the same thing, and they aren't suffering too many towers back at home on the other side now because they've interrupted the stone mining operation. That said, it's the red tower that will go down in the north. So with the vills bashing on it, so then maybe I'll just even take this stone or start creeping around here with some more towers. Left side, it's the blue tower from Melkor and Feanor that looks like it's going to survive. They're actually using the palisade repair bug trick, but it's in 2016. It's barely a bug; it's basically a feature to repair the tower from one tile further away, out of range, across the palisade by osmosis. Tower in the north's going to go down, and those villagers are being chased by so many more. But actually, they're more interested in dropping more towers, maybe, or just mining some more stone. They're actually on 118. Did they start mining some more here yet? No. They really want just 7 more stone to be able to drop another tower somewhere. But I did see that the amount of stone tick up. I'm not sure how, because they weren't mining any. But maybe there was one villager that just had some left and they dropped it off.
Servidor.
But Vinch and Dench will sort of tower, well, protecting the North Golden Wood area, but also making sure that Melkor and Feanor don't start mining that stone. It's pretty important. It's a good tower there, but they have enough stone to carry it back to the TC, get above 125, and then drop a new tower somewhere else. Which it seems like they're trying to circle around them to the north to get that. Or maybe they'd go around here, try and get in the back. At the moment, don't necessarily see a great option for it. If they literally just... No, they haven't literally just found out that that stone is walled up, but I guess maybe they're signalling to go vill bash at the walls and start mining it, perhaps. Take a bit of a time to get it out, but it's just such a messy game. It's just idols, 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 hideous inefficiencies, vills walking about everywhere. Feels like Vinchester's team has got some villagers working a bit more efficiently, but the problem is they're down 8 villagers, which I've only just noticed. I've only just looked at the overlay. I was looking at the just the map in general and thinking, these guys don't seem to have many villagers. I kind of missed that they come out so badly. I guess their food eco is idle the whole time. Because the kill to death ratio isn't something that would have contributed to there being a 7 villager difference, so they must have been idle for ages. Which I find a bit odd. I guess they were just committing too much to the Vil Wars. Now Melkor and Feanor Vil bashing down this tower. There's only one villager able to repair it at the moment, and this seems like completely deadlocked. Like the HP's sticking around. Very slowly are they actually bashing that tower down. They'll just build another one behind it to keep it up, and that will certainly go up in time. East side, there's actually another tower coming up here. It can be Vil bash from the front. But keeping them completely off stone here will be quite a big result from Vinchester's team. At least until that one probably gets Vil bashed down. Seems the villager difference is equalised by about 1. It's sort of a 6 villager difference now. But Town Watch being researched by Red Team. Both teams just 50 food, and pretty much no wood in the case of Vic as well. We're going to be in the feudal age for a long time to come. Hearing more villagers go down, that's actually equalising the villager disadvantage a bit. So it's now just a 5 villager disadvantage. I say just, as it's nothing, but it's pretty big. But only now are they, does it seem like they're really getting the farming eco going. Feels like there's been a few more farms here for a little bit longer, although maybe I'm wrong in that. Outposts in the back. They're actually outposting the whole map with Town Watch as well. I'm gonna have so much line of sight around here. Oh my god, are they gonna wall the Vils in? I mean, the problem is they don't have another tower to actually hit the Vils, and now they've escaped down the bottom. Oh, they've got enough stone wall tiles in. That's brilliant. I mean, the Vils do bash through stone walls still, sort of quickly. I mean, you can see, it's not quickly, but you know, they do a decent amount of damage, but still good to keep 4 Vils stuck in there for ages. And they're just going to double layer of wall even. Meanwhile, this tower up here is going to be Vil bashed by like 10 Vils, so that will go down pretty much straight away. And I don't know if they're going to... Yeah, they should have stone to drop another tower soon. If they could just put up a... If Red can put up a tower, maybe here, hitting the gold and the wood, that'd be perfect. This one's fine as well to hit the wood. And maybe move in and do a second one over here. It's just absolute chaos game. Just flick to random parts of the map and see just villagers shanking each other in the back. This is definitely a game where I just want to bring out the Killer Bee phrases and be like, she's got a mean look in her eye. She goes over there and shanks a villager in the back, throws up a tower where they least expect it. In 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Now I've run out of Killer Bee sayings. This is brilliant to keep the villagers in there for so long. And actually, the one red villager that was trapped in there as well managed to pick up a kill. But yeah, market being placed for Feanor and Melkor, and they're so heavily on gold, so that's a good way to try and speed your progress up through the feudal age. Starting to float some food and a lot of gold and gold gathers pretty quickly, so they can buy a bit of food and wood as they need to try and go up a bit faster. It feels like if one team gets Castle Age first and does knights, like the first team to have like 3 knights before the other team has any knights, that the game is over in their favour, probably. So the Castle Age race is going to be really important here. This is mega Vil bashing to try and get these towers. It's in range, so they'll kill some Vils pretty quickly here. That one needs deleting, which it has been. The other tower will get up in defence. No worries. This villager has palisade repaired this tower through using the bug for so long, and finally
It's all going to be worthwhile. He's finally going to... Oh, they're using it too. I think they've... Maybe they... I hadn't seen that up until this point. Maybe they've noticed that Vinchester is... Or Dench are using it and it's reminded them to use it. I don't know. Outpost on the stone. And actually... No, Vinchester and Dench stonewalling in a lot of the northern part of the map to try and trap Melkor and Feanor there. They're going to Vilbash this palisade to try and get access to some more stone. They only need it to repair this tower. Though they can still buy some with the market now they've got all this gold income. And starting to really look like they can go to the Castle Age very soon indeed. With Vinchester and Dench pretty damn low on resources. I mean, obviously they were behind on villagers for a long time, and actually the gap has opened up again. 8 villager difference now, and they do have fewer farms. Or perhaps fewer anyway. Not all of these have actually been worked on, so about the same. Still the villager wars. Yeah, I made that joke earlier, Dr. Slow. Alright, Castle Age for Melkor and Feanor. Are they going to go for knights? Or are they going to go for a castle and try and get conks? There is a long way off getting a castle. They're heavily on stone, although obviously they need that just to keep participating in the tower wars. Preemptive walling, I like that, because like I said, the knights could be killer if the opponent was to be up. But they aren't up, so it's not going to prove to be necessary, I don't think. Yeah, I have seen some games where players have gone up and then they've just castle dropped the enemy TC for the win, but that's not an option for Melkor and Feanor right now. If Vinchester and Dench were going to the Castle Age, they'd have the stone to do it, and it kind of looks like that's what they're planning if they ever get up, but they're going to be so late by comparison. I don't know if they're actually really going to get the chance to do that. I love that we've been Vil warring for like a straight 30 minutes now. I have to say, when Border Dispute was part of the setting for this tournament, I was like, that's a bit odd, it's a bit gimmicky, but this game has been pretty fun. Been pretty much impossible to follow the complexion of it, but and all the little details. Okay, Castle Age. Bought 100, so okay, they are going for the castle drop. They're going to use the fact that they're so heavily on gold to just continue buying stone. They're not going to go for knights. They've got a little bit of stone income, a lot of gold income, and a market, and that's all you need. We're going to go castle and conquistadors, and probably just castle down the enemy TC. They're going to put it here, which is... Oh, hang on, no. The foundation was deleted by the towers. 2 watchtowers are going to be in range of the builders. But these are Spanish villagers, and there's 20 of them. And I don't think 2 watchtowers are going to stop it. By any means. And they do have a few extra villagers to waste by comparison, but castle's up easily. There's barely any casualties. And man, this is pretty damaging. Taking away all farmland, taking away a main goal. They're going to be able to continue to make a tower or 2 in the back here, and they're going to get conquistadors out. Already producing conquistadors. If they destroy that tower, they could almost just go and Vilbash the TC, because there's barely any villagers there. Put some conks around the far side of Vilbash the TC. I'm not advising they do that, but it'd be funny. Man, the conks. I see a whole bunch of Vils down here out of position. They're going to be microed against. Take them all down. Dane lagged a little bit then. That's running fine for the players. But yeah, Vinchester and Dench now hitting Castle Age. They don't have... Yeah, do they have a stone for castle? No, I guess they spent their remaining stone on watchtowers.
They did have a lot of stone at one point. I guess they sold. Did they sell some to go up? Like, I don't know what they did with 700 stone. They haven't done that many extra walls and towers. So they're going archers. Or rather it be crossbows. But they're unable to access gold, and their villagers building the archer ranges are being taken down as well by conquistadors. And just struggling to see a way back for them. They're 15 villagers behind. They've got a castle on their main TC. They've lost one of the 2 gold piles. Can't really mind the other one. Conquistador is running everywhere on an open map like Border Dispute. Are they doing enough damage to the enemy base? The answer is no. Farming eco is looking pretty good, as long as we put a mill in the middle there. Good lads. And yeah, wood not terribly great, but Border Dispute. Gold, lots of villagers working somewhat efficiently, whereas you come over here and it's just like, well, first of all, it's 15 villagers less, and second, this is what's happening. I'm not sure what their rationale is for continuing. We've got a nice little satellite economy over here with some villages that perhaps Melkor and Feanor aren't aware of, but if some conks finds them too. And now extra villagers moving around the back of the base. Do they have... Oh my god, they have enough stone for a second castle. And they can easily get that. They've got conks. Boom. What are you going to do about that? Yeah, seeing that going to happen, they are now finally tapping out of the game. Right, so Melkor and Feanor stay alive. It's 3-2. So we've had 5 games now, 2 games remaining. Vinchester and Dench have to win one of them to win the tournament, and whatever prize money there is, I'll have to check that actually. Melkor and Feanor obviously have to win both of them to stay alive. My cold is affecting me more and more as it's getting later. It's always worse at night when you're ill. I don't know why. When you wake up in the morning and then at night it gets worse. You're alright during the day. But we shall continue on. 2 more games. I think I can manage 2 more games. And anyway, I'm being given infinite energy by the of the AOC community in supporting tournaments today. $510. Amazing. I'm going to check the prize pool. If there is one. Oh, it's $70 for first place and $40 for second place. Okay, nice. Nice that the players are going to have some prize money. I wasn't sure there was a prize pool for the tournament. That's cool. And some Voobly account badges as well.
Yes.
Alright, I'm back. We didn't miss much. We're on game 6 now. It's double dry Arabia. And Melkor and Feanor, before the series started, were saying that they were really looking forward to the double dry Arabia, and they were quite sad that that wasn't game 1 instead of normal Arabia. But they won that anyway, so they'll fancy themselves here, and for some reason they apparently liked the double TC map more. Double TC version of Arabia more, so let's see what they've got prepared. Interesting civs here, Chinese versus Goths. I think Chinese better overall Arabia civ, but Vinchester loves his Goths. Normally when he's picking that on Arabia it leads to aggression with man-at-arms and such. And he picked Goths in Clash of the Hippo with a feudal age start. And I started off when I was co-casting with Nilly saying, oh yeah, it's going to be Vinchester, man-at-arms, such and such. And then he just built a stable and did scouts against Huns with Goths. And I was like, what? How did you pick Goths to do that? So I hope he plays to the Goth strengths here. I guess with Dark Age to start, it's more viable because scouts were OP in Clash of the Hippo, that's for sure. Every game turned into scout rushes once players figured it out. Yeah, I think Chinese better civ overall for Arabia, but it's not massively so. Not a giant chasm of difference. And double Arabia, I guess it's kind of hard to say. Taking a little bit of a look at the maps. This side for the Russian team is pretty damn good. Gold in the back, some good wood lines. Some gold in the back here as well. Kind of open across the front, but plenty of resources to work with. They can, I mean, to the extent that you can team wall with Goths because you can't build stone walls, of course. They do have some good areas that they can wall across. This being one of the bigger ones that they'd have to seal up. I guess eventually house walls would work just fine. We saw earlier on that they're not afraid to double palisade as well. The Irish team, the bottom base is looking a little bit open. Main goal position is not terrible, but it's probably the worst map out of the 3 that we've seen thus far. This one as well, wow, gold is pretty disgusting and very open across the front, so better maps for the Goth players as opposed to the Chinese players, and with the Irish team being Chinese. You see the Chinese are maintaining their villager advantage through the early game here. Not a 6 villager advantage or anything with the double TC start, but as we saw, yeah, I was thinking of like, you know, Clash of the Hippo. In that they were actually having a 3 villager advantage, weren't they? I don't know why I said that. I was getting confused doubling that up, but yeah, it seems that the Chinese starts for the Irish team were pretty decent actually, because both players on both sides, assuming they're sort of playing it with both players taking a TC each, seem to have got a reasonable advantage out of the Chinese start with the extra villages and found their sheep pretty quickly. Obviously I missed the first few seconds of the match because I was actually grabbing a drink, but yeah, just maintaining a bit of a lead early on. It's also possible that the Vinchester and Dench team, maybe they had slightly worse coordination and got housed or something for the double TC map, and obviously it's even more complicated when you've got 2 players perhaps pulling in up competing directions with when they're taking their resource pools and who's going to build the houses and stuff like that. You can see like the difference is that there's both so both players have built these houses by the TC at the start, but there's at least one extra house down here, and then there's some more in the north. So they seem to be kind of sharing that duty, whereas you look at this, it almost looks like it's only Feanor who's tasked. Well, I say only Feanor as if I know who's playing each one. It's only whoever's looking after the south who's tasked with building houses. And they might have said like, oh, well, I want to make a house wall across here as well. But it seems like very deliberate that after the houses at the start of the game, all the houses are being built in the south, whereas it seems a little bit more haphazard for the Russian team. 2 scouts here grouping up, trying to get some vills. It's too few the scouts, they can easily snipe a vill, especially with a hill advantage as well, but not getting a kill there, just forcing them away from berries. Someone in the chat says there was a boar steal at the bottom. Did miss that. Don't know whether it happened early when I was still sort of getting to grips with the start of the game after coming back a little bit late, or I'm just being slow now because I've been streaming for such a long time, I think like 7 hours or something. I don't know how Niltford did his 36 hours. I mean, I'm not feeling exhausted, but like I can tell like my concentration just isn't there after this long. How he was refocusing for like grand final of Clash of the Hippo after 32 hours or whatever it was. God knows. Man's a monster. But yeah, both teams on the way to the Castle Age now. Pretty much similar, 50 villagers each, more or less. Just looking at what's being prepared for both either side. Looks like Goths in the south will go knights from one stable, trying to get that big palisade wall across the middle of the map that I was talking about, and probably leave the top part open. Sort of, just funnel towards the TC. These guys are going to go 2 stables in the south from the Chinese. Civ, and nothing in the north. But it feels like they'll just do eco up here and build up most of the military from the south. Scale barding, bloodlines, gold mining, lots of upgrades coming in, and they're really having a lot of trouble. Okay, I just amalgamated the words problem and trouble. Now you know I'm struggling to hang in there. It seems like they're having a lot of trouble dealing with these 2 feudal scouts that now have +1 armor and bloodlines, and they've picked up both scouts. They've picked up 2 vills and forced to do a spear because they're getting really pesky. Really low HP though. Vills can take those down now. Let me just do chat off. Alright, knights pouring out the stables in the south. Where are they heading to? They're going to just run straight to the north through the only part that it's open. It's been such a dangerous occupation to be a forager for the northern part of the Goth civilization here. It seems like the Melkor and Feanor only have eyes for killing berry foragers. Now taking fights against spears, but with hill advantage, easy cleanups for the knights. And remember, they're on 2 stables. Only 1 stable for the Goths, unless they made another. Yeah, they made another one. So should be able to keep up on the knight production. But Feanor and Melkor just got a few more knights out in the field. The military of Vinchester and Dench partially consists of spears. They're obviously both weaker and slower, even if they just do still pack something of a punch against the knights. Very noticeable though that the Goths team the Goths for the Russian team, they seem to be focused on trying to defend and get TCs. They're on to 4 TCs booming already and just defend with spears and keep working close to the TCs, defending walls as well. Whereas the Chinese Civ being controlled by the Russian team, still on 2 TCs for now, and adding in an archer range, trying to get something to counter the spears and then continue to put on the pressure with the knights. So they're taking a much more aggressive approach. Thing is, however, despite the 4 TCs, the team controlling the Chinese Civ with just 2 TCs is ahead, and villagers by well, it's double figures now. I mean, they maintained a modest villager lead throughout after a decent Chinese starts and perhaps slightly more efficient Dark Ages, but feels like with the casualties that Vinchester and Dench have taken, a few extra vills going down, and also probably a bit more idle, a bit more. They seem to have fallen behind in villages in a way you wouldn't expect given the TC differential. So many knights pulling out, really having to block that up with a university. Defend with knowledge. Pen is mightier than the sword, and all that stuff. Yeah, finally we see a monastery, but one monk is not going to turn the tide against this many knights. Yeah, the Chinese started 6 more vills, but in a normal game, like some of that, 6 more vills in double TC, I mean. So 3 vills per TC, but in a normal game, some of that gets eaten into, and they usually come out like 1 villager ahead or something. But in Clash of the Hippo, they were starting 3 villages ahead, and they were maintaining the 3 villages because the medium resources meant that they could just produce vills straight away. And that's what I was perhaps referring to in a slightly clunky way earlier. When I mentioned that it's not a 6 vil league, and we were talking about Clash of the Hippo then, but really a really fearsome army for Melkor and Feanor. Not only do they have slightly more villages, although that's equalised now with the 4 TCs running for the Russian team. The Russian team have been trying to defend with entirely spearmen, and not even getting the pikemen upgrades, skimping on that, and those spearmen have got it pretty obsolete with the appearance on the battlefield of about a dozen crossbowmen. And the amount of knights here, they can take a guarantee TC now. So they are in a lot of trouble, I think, the Goths civilization of the Russian team. They've got a lot of villagers that probably can't fit into TCs somewhere. Their only defense against the knight is being countered by the crossbows. And now they're having a lot of villagers get caught out. Getting that villager differential that had shrunk back out to sort of 15. Castle on the hill here in the area where a lot of the units for Melkor and Feanor have been streaming in, but of course it's open in the middle now and they can basically bisect the 2 bases of Vinchester and Dench and probably kill off the southern one. I'm really surprised they didn't use those knights to kill this TTE. If they had +2 armour, they easily would do it. With +1, they would take quite a lot of losses, but it still seemed potentially worth it. I guess they just don't want to lose it, throw away the army. It's probably much easier to run around just killing vills, sniping the spearmen, and not waste a lot of army just killing a TC and getting like 10-15 vills, I guess. That's me thinking like someone who just gets overexcited because they can kill a TC instead of conserving army like you see all the expert players do. Nice splits and staggered formation to avoid the mangonel fire from the hill there, and the crossbowmen are being microed against spears and camels here. Converted camels for the Goths, which means that Melkor and Feanor take that fight so well, and they're on their way to the Imperial Age. This is about to be like Cavalier and Arbalest. We've got blacksmith upgrades from the Imperial Age as well. It's 42 military to 42, but I don't really know where the 42 military of... No, I'm reading it wrong. It was the idle column. It's 42 military to 42 idols. What it was. It's 45 military to none at all. I was going to say, like, how can Vinchester and Dench have 40+ military? Yeah, I just don't see a way back for them. Vinchester and Dench, no resources to take over to the Imperial Age whatsoever. Knights and crossbows under every TC, just killing them off. And now they're about to be facing... Oh my god! This is... I can't even watch.
As Nini would say, if you have children, please cover their eyes. Don't let them look at the screen. Yeah, Cavalier, Plate Barley Armor, Chemistry, Thumb Ring, Arbalest. This is obscene. Versus Goths who are just going to be stuck in the Castle Age and not even having Huskars to deal with the Arbalest. Okay, they've got a few, but even so, it's not enough. And no surprise to see the GG being called there. That was brutal by Melkor and Feanor. Chinese, good Civ pick, small village advantage, obviously doubled with the double TC, and then getting decent starts, so they were like 5 villages ahead throughout Dark Age, and it just snowballed. They went more aggressive with 2 stables, on which I think is pretty standard for double Dry Arabia. I can't really understand the like 1 stable decision, hardly any knights, and then just spearmen. Didn't even spend on the pike upgrade until it was too late, and they already had teched into crossbows. Just seemed like a bit too much of a passive play from the Russian team, and quick game after. Well, the border dispute wasn't that quick either, but yeah, coming back from 3 match points, was it? I think, yeah, to go take it into a decider, Melkor of Feanor. So best of 7, going to game 7 to decide the final of Brothers in Arms, and the winner of $70 versus the winner of $40. Pretty exciting stuff. The admins of the tournament
Yes.
going to be happy with this. Dark Age deathmatch. Yeah, no one wants to watch.
Yes.
200 militia going at it. Someone did exclamation mark uptime. The uptime is 7 hours and 40 minutes. I've not been here for all of that. Spent about an hour away getting some food at like 3 hours ago, and half an hour of AFK before I went live. But yeah, I've pretty much, adding up all the time I've been away, I guess I've streamed for about 6 hours, but it's been well worth it. We're at $310 of donations through today's stream to make the Masters of Arabia 2v2 prize pool $510. Yeah, I can still see a couple of ways that it may increase on the horizon. There might possibly be another donation stream from another streamer, not on Vibly Official, but I won't say which streamer it is, because I don't want to back them into a corner if they can't do it. And yeah, it's possible that there might be another source that we increase the prize pool by a little bit more as well. So couldn't be happier with the response and the generosity of people today. You can tell that my voice is sort of suffering, but it's more the cold than anything. They're trying to make a double Scandinavia.
Yes.
But I think it's going to have to be the normal one. think it's a bit bad to spring a different map for Game 7 of the Grand Final out of nowhere. I think it's best to stick to their established setting.
Yes.
Well, after some discussion about I don't know what, and mentions of making them play Forest Nothing, which I hope is pure sarcasm, we are setting up the last game. So, once the Spectre Day is counted down in like 2 minutes time from now, we'll be ready to go. It's going to be Scandinavia. A slightly less buggy version of Scandinavia than the normal one. You can have a 4v4 on Border Dispute, yeah. I mean, you could have a map where, like, you could have 4v4 with every player having 3 TCs if you wanted to. It would be an absolute mess of a map which made no sense, and probably with loads of missing resources and stupid terrain generation and everything. But you could do it. There is actually a map called Vilrabia where each player starts with 200 villagers, I think. I think it's a custom scenario though. Possibly. I'm not sure. No, I think it's a random map script. Stupid, obviously, but since you guys are talking about it. Anyway, Game 7 of Brothers in Arms 1v1 co-op tournament. And Melkor and Feanor have fought their way back from 2 match points down against Vinchester. Well, it was 3 match points. And now they have a match point of their own, as does Vinchester and Dench still have one remaining for themselves. It's going to be Scandinavia. It's actually a slightly customised version of Scandinavia, which I'm crossing my fingers in saying that it's slightly less buggy version of it, because you can see some weird Scandinavia maps at times. Basically with slightly less annoying ice in it and less chance that your deer spawning practically in the enemy base, such like. But other than that, basically the standard Scandinavia that we all know, and if your name is Locker, then you love it. If you're everybody else, then you probably don't love it. Nah, it's an okay map, especially if you don't get too much of a buggy one. It is quite often a fairly closable map, sometimes extremely so, depending on if the ice interferes with your base too much, which in this case it hasn't interfered with either player's base and left them wide open to the enemy. So we could get into a longer game here, which would be nice to settle the game 7, settle the series, settle the whole tournament in that way. The players are playing for either $70 for first place or $40 for second place. Someone casting without the no snow patch and no ice. Yeah, I don't like the no snow patch. Especially doesn't like that it makes the ice look like fake shallows. But I like the snow from time to time. Yeah, players playing for the difference between $70 and $40. So thanks to anyone who donated to the prize pool of this one. I'm not sure where the prize pool actually came from. But yeah, we have Celts versus Britons here. Celts being taken by the Irish team, Melkor and Feanor. Vinchester and Dench taking Britons. And I think with it being a slightly more closable map here, as I said, perhaps favouring getting into the slightly later game, I'd favour the Celts a little bit more. As I said many times in the stream earlier when we were casting a lot of Arabia games from the DAB Cup, Arabia Invitational proved that Celts were the top experts favoured Sibon Arabia maps, with Britons being just behind. And if you make the map a little bit less open, a little bit more closable for the Celts, then I feel like the balance shifts just a little bit further in the Celts' direction. Now, if they can get to the late game where their heavy siege is making a difference, then that's really important. And correspondingly, if you've got a lot of walls everywhere through these sorts of choke points, then the Britons find it harder to take advantage of their borderline OP crossbows and the Castle Age. But at the same time, in closing their own map off potentially, they can have a really good boom as well. Interesting water positions, because it's going to see both teams doing their docks on opposite sides of the map for now, although it's not going to be difficult by any means for them to cross over to the enemy's docks, the enemy's water, and do like a dock and attack the enemy fish like along here, or dock here and then attack up there. So there's not a ton of fish on the map, never is on Scandinavia, but there's some good areas here for the red team, the Russian team in the north. This deep water area, having 3 deep fish, is quite good and not something you can always rely on in Scandinavia. This part, however, that's awesome, but probably no one makes use of that, at least until later in the game. Melkor and Feanor already walling off a lot, and these walls are pretty big actually. You know, if they were being a little less ambitious, they might have gone across here, but they're making sure they're all a bit further from their base initially, not too close to that starting lumber camp, taking the second stone within the walls. And they're really gonna just go all across here. Oh no, they don't see what's going on here just now. Not yet scouted out the enemy. Whereas Vinchester and Dench run right through the TC of pretty much of Melkor and Feanor, but their scout's fine, still alive, no damage on it. Yeah, they're going for the big walls here. This is game 7, guys. Serious stuff. So faster uptime for the Russians playing as the Britons. Immediately seeing an archery range coming up on this hill, they've gone up with quite a difference in population. It's around probably going to be about 4 villages difference by the time that village has popped out. So roughly 4 or 5. Well, actually, no, these guys have been upping for a bit, so it's more like 5, I guess. And they're going to send 2 more villages forward straight away. Militia coming. It's going to pretty much it's not forward, is it? They're building the buildings at home, but it's going to be a lot of aggression from them. And the second archery range coming up in a forward area, up on this hill. Going to be looking to apply the pressure early. I'm not going to just sit behind the walls, try and boom against Celts or defend, because getting into the late game situations, Celts with Britons against Celts with Britons is not favourable, of course, as I mentioned earlier. So, meanwhile, Feanor and Melkor just wanting to make that happen with the double palisades, wanting to try and engineer precisely such a situation where they're taking advantage of the Celts' late game power against the Britons if they can, and they're doing that by making themselves as safe as possible in the early game. This is really nice for Vinchester and Dench there to actually deny that second dock. It makes that pretty much wasted for now. I'm surprised before that villager died they didn't use it to drop one more hammer on the dock and finish it off, because the villager was going to die anyway, may as well finish the dock. I had another villager going down there. I think the scout picked the other villager that was forward that was probably quite damaged by the wolves and such. The scout's still alive, so the one death for Vinchester has to be a villager that was building here. The scout is still being pesky. And the brothers are on stone now, so probably going to stonewall the whole map now if they can. Vinchester and Dench just flaring the way the water goes for the enemy, although they should know that anyway because they've got their own dock over here. Getting up to 5 fishing ships now, so it's continued to add some more. Russians staying on the predictable 4 up in the north, not adding any more. Brothers finishing stone walls across the whole of the map. Their strategy for this game is clearly marked out. Good that they managed to take some stones inside the walls for getting castles later when they want to transition to woads, potentially defending against if the Britons go really aggressive, castle in defence as well. They've taken one extra, their second goal within the walls and the main goal, so they're pretty sorted there. They just need to make sure they first of all keep the walls strong, and secondly they need to stop the transports coming around on the side. Managing to deny that dock there is pretty important. But they do have 2 docks of their own with which to pump some galleys from. Hello Milmano, how is work? I was working until 6 on a Sunday as you're cappering me and you're not joining to co-cast.
Too late for that now. Yeah, the cold sounds fantastic. I'm actually sounding a lot worse than I did earlier. It being night time, so when you're cold is always worse, and streaming for God knows how many hours will do that to you. Exclamation mark Normano. Dan's game in the chat. I love it. But anyway, Melkor and Feanor finally clicking up to the Castle Age. I'd say Vinchester and Dench have done an awesome job of actually delaying the uptime from the brothers. They've forced them to wall so much and expend so many resources, even at walling behind the main stone, which is quite unfortunate. And the amount that they've actually managed to delay them, despite them having walled up since the early Dark Age, means that they're not even any slower to the Castle Age, particularly only 47 seconds. Villagers are about the same, obviously. A lot more military for the Russian team. They're the only ones who've been applying any aggression throughout this game. Still not going to be able to find a way in. They're not even going to be able to abuse the crossbowman range in the Castle Age, except if they manage to get some archers here, they'll be able to hit this wood line. But other than that, they're really not getting any chance to do any damage in the Castle Age with the British crossbows. And they're actually buying stone, the brothers. Interesting. They're not able to mine it, so they're having to buy the stone just to get 2 TCs. That's it. I'm not sure I like that TC right on the front. I mean, yeah, it's on the wood. But as they start to chop this way, they're opening themselves up to getting shot by towers and crossbows from behind the walls. I don't think there's... I suppose there's not another great... Oh, they can do a TC here. They're actually... Okay, yeah. If they're doing another one down here, then I don't mind this one in the north so much. And it's 4 TC straight away, so they're going to boom their hearts out and just probably sit behind walls with a couple of mangonels. But meanwhile, the Russians taking full map control, getting TCs of their own. 1, 2, 3. Don't think we'll see a fourth from them. The brothers are making sure there's no sneaky docks showing up on their water in the bottom left. Not contesting the right water at all. And I guess Vinchester and Dench should send a fishing ship to find all the extra fish down here and maybe consider it at least an extra dock in this corner. No need to add more fishing ships, but an extra dock just down there wouldn't be a bad idea in the long... Not straight away. We need the wood to get going with their TCs and stuff right now, but in a few minutes time maybe. Meanwhile, Celts producing mangonels to try and force these crossbows away from the walls. But they're not threatening to break in too soon. And in fact, they're more focused on destroying a house at this point. But when I was talking about the Britons taking map control, well, the Russians with the Britons taking the map control, one of the things I was going to say is they've got free reign to take basically all the relics on the map. I'm not sure if perhaps there was one inside the walls of the brothers' team, but there is going to be a few others on the map that they can take. I just heard one being picked up, and that's pretty useful. Issue with these trying to defend with the mangonel behind the walls is the Britons' crossbows are still outranging the mangonel, of course, and that hill meaning that the crossbows are doing pretty good damage to that mangonel, and with the proper micro, the mangonel defense not proving that effective. This is the sort of micro, sort of non-stop attention to it that you're able to do with the co-op setting, because quite often in a normal game somebody had to look back to look at their eco or something during that moment perhaps and either retreated from the engagement or miss microed.
I love that how there's like one crossbow just randomly spread around, targeting different areas in case a lumber camp pops up anywhere. Love to see that one right here. Even, I guess a tower would be overkill around the back of there, but just making sure there's no sneaks as well from outside from inside the walls of the brothers, making sure nothing gets out, even getting away with that relic from the galleys. I did look at that one and think how close it was to the water, but monks quickly in and out to get that relic. And let's just take a look at the villager counts right now. It's 66, 72, so it's pretty close, despite them going 4th TC. They're not really got ahead in the boom particularly. Right. I do feel that the longer this goes on, the tougher it is for the Britons if this just ends up going into the Imperial Age with their brothers being behind walls in perfect safety as the Celts. But an aggressive move coming out from Vinchester and Dench now. Castle on that area in the front of the brothers' base, which has been giving them the most trouble throughout the game. Here and here, really. Denying, or well, not necessarily denying, but controlling the area where both of the stones are, which is quite important because Celts heavy sieges alone can do a lot of damage to the Britons' Arbalests, but the thing you want to normally be backing it up with, if you're Celts, and especially raiding the enemy as well, is of course Woad Raiders. Get that combination of the Woad Raiders and the siege. If you can just stop the enemy mining stone for the whole game, then that's potentially, you're not dealing with an enemy castle, so you're not dealing with Woad Raiders, you're not dealing with Trebs, you're not dealing with conscription. So if they can just keep the Celts off stone here, that's pretty important. Loads of gold out here on the right hand side of the map. Didn't really talk about that earlier on, but Vinchester and Dench are going to be the ones for the moment who still maintain some presence out there, stopping villagers just going out and setting up a bit of eco there. Longbows beginning to pop out, and the random streams of arrows being fired over the walls of the Celts continue to rain down. Still not particularly damaging in any way. Both players, or both teams, on the way to the Imperial Age. Just a 30-second difference in favour of the Russians right now. So the Britons are going to be up a tiny bit faster. They've already got forward siege workshop, forward archer range, forward castle, so they can begin to apply some pressure and try to be the aggressors here, not let the Celts dictate the game. Picking up that last relic from just outside the walls of the brothers as well. It's pretty good. I'm not sure there were 5 relics on the map, because I feel like I'm missing one. There's another one here. That's one of the ones I was missing. 2 relics in the bank. They're carrying at least 2 to my knowledge. So I feel like there's one missing. Maybe there's only... there it is. Okay. I don't think the brothers will get that, to be honest. Second forward castle. On another good hill outside the base. So even as we head into the Imperial Age, where theoretically, after say the first 5 minutes of the Imperial Age, the Celts really would start to come into their own in a matchup against Britons. I feel like the Russian team are giving themselves every chance here to overcome the fact that the Celts are a bit better in the Imperial Age. I mean, especially when you've been making military in the Castle Age and you go up as Britons, you've still got a good chance to push in the earlier part of the Imperial Age for sure. Although the Onager upgrade kicking in for the brothers is going to make that a little bit more difficult. Treb hitting that forward TC. They said that was a bad idea. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, the villagers around that have been working away on time. Although I guess the lumberjacks wouldn't have been able to do too much really with units being here and here the whole time. Let's have a look at these X's on the right. Yeah, it seems like they're just marking it out, being like, pay attention to here, let's take control of this area. But they found a dock. Interesting, the villagers there, outposts and a dock. I've actually completely missed that because the fire ships are up in the north already doing it, taking away the fish. But it's really not a big deal as long as it's not going to lead to like sneaky transports going up there as well. Siege honors are being researched, but the base is open. I wouldn't want to go through there if I was Vinch and Dench. because you just know the onagers are going to be waiting on the other side, but they're going to go for it. God, let's see it from point of view. Obviously they've got massive range and line of sight, Britons now. They've got yeoman already, +6 range. So they can see the onagers from much further away, but even they'd still be a bit scared. You've only got to walk like one tile forward at the same time as the onager walks one tile forward, more or less, and you're in range of each other. But it seems like the Melkor and Feanor are mostly keeping their onagers back until they get siege onager. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake. I guess they're villagers being ejected from the TC, and now they're being slaughtered because they're not withdrawing them. They're trying to repair the TC. There was no... I don't see the reason to repair that TC. They just had to run, but even though the score lead is still there for Melkor and Feanor, they're really losing a lot of ground now. Losing a lot of farming eco, which is quite important as they look to upgrade stuff. I guess one of the most food intensive upgrades they wanted to get, onager and then siege onager, is already done though, which is pretty good. Seeing a cavalry transition for the Britons now, changing barding, armour and husbandry kicking in. So probably preparing to run in some knights and deal with the pure onagers, because we don't even see any pikes to defend. I mean, they've got barracks, so they're obviously aiming for that, but we don't see it just yet. And the fact that they've taken the food cover away, or part of it, is helping to ensure that getting on decent amount of pikes and some halberds is quite slow. Light cav coming in as well, so rip the onagers unless these pikes get their behinds over there quickly. Which they are now doing. But Scorley, big siege onager shot. This is going to slow them down a little bit in terms of their ability to whittle down the pikemen as quickly as they might otherwise have done, but still, Vinch and Dench in a decent spot. They've made up a lot of ground on the Celts, although they certainly have a huge number of villagers in the back still gathering resources for now, and they're not denying resources apart from the 3rd gold and the 2 front stones. However, I guess not Vinch and Dench, Melkor and Feanor had to buy a castle to actually get that up and get Feanor Celtica, and with them having controlled the stones for the whole game, I think it's just going to have to be Halb and siege onager and no sign of Woad Raiders pretty much ever until they gain control of some stone. And meanwhile, little flanking attack round to the east for Vinchester and Dench. Just as Melkor and Feanor are trying to sneak out there, obviously the Russian team have had some presence out here the whole time, so they've more or less contained the brothers. And now they're going to get rich pickings on the wood line with the longbows going around the back. The range at this point is just ridiculous, and we're going to get elite longbows. Patau in the chat is going to be hyped now. He was requesting elite longbows versus siege onager earlier, and that's exactly what he's going to get. Siege workshop comes up for the Britons. Somebody else in the chat saying they'd like to see a castle drop in the east by the red team. It would secure this whole area with all the extra gold, and that'd be pretty awesome for them. And nope, just another siege workshop. Now we're looking on the front, some more shots taking out half a dozen elite longbows here. Seems the brothers' attention is elsewhere. And Halbs and siege onagers will lead a clean up of most of the armaments on the front, but the Russians are regrouping some in the back, and just as the Halbs go back, the light cav come forward and probably pick up another siege onager here. Killing their own SO. Meanwhile, right side, the range of the elite longbowmen is just they're really abusing it at times. Some effective shots notwithstanding. They're desperate to come out and find more gold. There's a castle here. That's a interesting spot. I've talked about this before. I know they're stopping them getting to the water, I guess, but and they are controlling one gold mine, which is fine. But I've talked about this before. How I feel the players have an obsession with always putting castles on the highest points of hills. I mean, yeah, obviously you do it to make your castle, well, increase its survivability, but as we focus on this fight for a second, see if this castle goes down and there are SO shots. I still feel like they could have got this castle more here and control the golds a bit better. But slowly but surely, the kind of fixed position firepower that the Celts have with the siege onagers in particular seems to be gaining them a little bit of ground on the front. Taking down the castle on the front is a big win for them, but still they really need to access gold in the east, some more gold, and they're kind of struggling with that. There's not a huge amount of military out here for Britons anymore though, and they are starting to take control of this area, so they will actually get more gold there. Got to slow the game down, it's going a bit too fast. The question is, are they going to suffer too much on the left? The Britons have broken through the wall on the left hand side and they're in with a couple of light cav. It's not really anything much. It's actually just a single light cav now. I think there was one down here that died or something. But yes, a lot is going to turn on this area. In the long term, this area is going to be absolutely crucial. We do have the Russian team with 4 relics as well, and a gold mine that they're not making use of, which will help them long term. But if the Celts get all this gold as well, and obviously lots of wood as well, then I think we're going to be in for a game that's going to continue for quite some time to come. Not huge differences in the population of the Britons. Actually 130 villages feels like rather a lot in this situation. But given that they don't have loads of resources banked up, I guess it's absolutely fine. This is a bit of an issue though for Melkor and Feanor. I don't see siege onagers in this location to actually help deal with this. It seems like they've probably devoted a little bit too much trying to win control of this area, which is fair enough because the goal is so important, but they're kind of collapsing in the middle because there's no siege onagers here. There's one in the bank. And the halbs, there's a lot of halbs probably reacting to them coming through the west wall here, and the situation seems to be like deteriorating for the Britons quite quickly here. Survivability is a word. It's a little bit of a strange word to use of an inanimate structure like a castle. Durability would definitely be a better word. But whatever. I guess the castle is just as durable on the hill because it has the same amount of hit points. It just takes less damage, so maybe survivability kind of works. But yeah. Just refocusing on the game. Melkor and Feanor definitely feeling the pinch on the front. The fact that elite longbows are now sort of literally in their economy with their elite range of all the upgrades as well is a real problem because they're picking off vills. They've got light cav running around the east, a lot of halbs there, but we're looking at sort of 65 villages actually working now, and Vinchester and Dench just doing great damage. Still, the brothers seem to be focusing more on the defending the east than anything, and they're kind of allowing themselves to lose ground in the middle. But as I keep saying, I can't blame them just because there's so much gold here and it's going to be vital to the long-term part of the game. However, I don't know if there's necessarily going to be a long-term if they continue to lose this much ground, but that siege onager shot is the kind of thing they needed to actually turn this around. If they could have got another one, plant it in the middle of that, it would have been a big deal. But the problem is that right now the Britons are bringing in just a good mix of units. You've got halbs, you've got light cabs, the rams are really going to town on the structures. We've even got forward siege workshop in there, and the Melkor and Feanor are just slowly losing lots of eco and production capacity, having everything idled in the back. The only part that they're doing well in, sort of, is the east, but it's saying you're doing well when you've got like 10 vills mining gold. That's not enough. Down to like 50 vills actually working, which is basically a few farmers here, some
like 25 lumberjacks and 15 bills on gold somewhere over here somewhere. And that's the GG being called. So congratulations to Vinchester and Dench for surviving a bit of a scare, considering they went 3-1 up in a best of 7 and got taken to a decider. But I think during this game, they were always either 50-50 or ahead, and for most of it they were ahead. There was a moment about, I don't know, a few minutes after the brothers first got siege under where they looked like they were stabilising, but quickly after that, the kind of military presence for the brothers sort of seemed to go missing in defending the main part of the base. There was a time when they were trebbing this castle down and gaining some ground, and I thought they were going to get right into it and make it a 50-50 game again, but at that moment they just seemed to devote a lot of their energy over here. And rightly or wrongly, considering there's so much gold there, they focused there, and there was a kind of renewed push by Vinchester and Dench through the middle, and just gutting most of the economy and production and turned the game around pretty quickly. Interesting game, a good game to close out the series and to be a deciding game not only of the series but the tournament. And yeah, congratulations once again to Vinchester and Dench. Somebody said, oh wow. Dench said, good luck next round. He didn't even realise he was playing a final. Craig goes, what's the final, Dench? And he goes, really? Even Vinchester's laughing at him. Feanor's laughing at him. Vinchester's like, perfect. I really thought he knew. My God. I swear Booby is match fixing. All the finals are going to the last match. Yeah, the viewers can't complain with it. Casters maybe can, because we it takes its toll. It's way more tiring than playing the game. But yeah, this is gonna be me calling it a day now. My OBS tells me I've been live for 8 hours, 22 minutes and 15 seconds. I haven't been streaming and casting for all of that. I probably spent like an hour and a half AFK. But yeah, it's been a long one for me, but the idea was to do a special stream covering a lot of interesting games from the Doubt Cup and from the Brothers in Arms Grand Final, and hopefully get some good donations for Masters of Arabia 2v2, and that is certainly what happened. Once again, I've said it throughout the stream, but I'm just so thankful to everybody for donating to the prize pool so that we can make Masters of Arabia 2v2 as good as possible by hopefully enticing some players with the larger prize pool and motivating them to take the tournament really seriously. And I never expected to get to $510 with $310 of donations on top of a starting point of 200 during this stream, so you've absolutely blown my expectations out of the water for this donation stream, and I'm really happy. The tournament will take place in November. With the sign-ups are open now. We've had like 20 plus teams sign up. We're aiming to get to 56 or thereabouts. The sign-ups will close on November the 11th, and then single elimination qualification for seeds 25 to 56 is going to be starting and lasting for 2 weeks on the 14th of November, and then 28th of November the double elimination tournament for the top 32 seeds, with the top 24 seeds entering at that stage. That double elimination bracket will start then and run pretty much through until the end of January, with the grand final taking place at the start of February. So we'll be streaming that
plenty on Vubly Official, I hope, but open streaming, of course, so you'll be able to watch the games on other channels as well, T9, Team Mem, whoever. So if you're fans of those other channels, you'll be able to watch them on wherever you wish, and if that motivates you to donate to the prize pool, even though you're donating to Vubly Official, then so much the better, because Vubly Official is simply holding the prize bank for the tournament, given that the admins of the tournament, including myself, are Vubly Official team members. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for sticking with me throughout the day, and thanks very much once again for the donations. I'm going to take what I'm going to consider to be a well-earned rest now, so cheers guys, catch you another time.